All right, welcome to Cleveland Moto Podcast, episode 459. Light them up, boys. Ting. I like the way John's like, but I couldn't wait and I opened my beverage.
Somebody's peeing.
Rheingeist beer served out of a Stein. Here we go. It's fantastic. I got the same Stein I had last week, so I don't have to read anything new. Steinwehrstein. Auf echter Stein. So, you guys, for people that are not playing in the Cleveland environment, we got third winter.
Yep.
No shit.
We had our fall spring. We are now officially in, according to Dick Goddard, third winter. Mm-hmm. So,
He's been dead for 3 years.
But his fucking legacy lives on. Nobody told us what the weather was outside like Dick.
We don't got Dick.
We had but for years we got Dick. And Dick was the best. I'm still spay and neuter your pets. I will always respect Dick.
I thought that was Bob Barker.
Also does that too, yeah.
But
right?
did you know that Dick is a dick?
Did you know that Dick invented the Woolly Bear Festival? Mm-hmm. Right?
No, that's what, when I worked at Jack Prince,
Yeah.
I was the sales manager, and he came in and he wanted to do 100,000 Woolly Bear stickers.
Oh,
And
okay.
he wanted them on material because he wanted them to wear for the Woolly Bear Day thing, right?
Yes.
So he brought in the artwork, and we had a meeting, and we said, dude, we can do this. We can print them.
Yep.
And this will be the cost. But
Right.
we're telling you right now, when you print on material, it's not bright. It's not exciting.
It's flat.
It's very flat and
Right.
very boring.
Yep.
I don't care. I want that material. Okay. Rush got the job done in 5 days, which was unheard of because we had to send the stuff out because it's a very specific printer for that. And we got it back in 5 days. He comes in. He goes, I'm not paying for that. Look at that. Who would want that? And we're like, well, it's exactly that we told you. It would not look good because you demanded to print on fucking material.
Yeah.
Well, I want at least 50% off. So after like enough arguing, the guy who owned the company was like, fuck it, just get him out of here.
Yeah.
So we gave him the money off just to get him out of the building.
Make him leave.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Dick's a dick.
There you go.
Well, he was.
He was.
Yeah.
Well, he's a dead Dick. So
He spoke very highly of you.
Yeah. Of course he is.
Do you remember that guy at Jack Prince? He gave you those shitty dull stickers.
Dude, I was kissing his ass like I was supposed to. There's not much you can do.
Look,
you know?
there's it is.
You were fondling his dick.
Kissing Dick's ass.
I was from an era when we would open up the cereal boxes and get patches because patches were cool in the 70s,
Oh, yeah.
and these were adhesive patches, but they were on a weird fabricy material, and like nobody knew what that. We were little kids. We didn't know what tickle my fancy meant or whatever, and but we got these things, and kids were like, "Oh, we're sticking them on everything." And my mom was pissed because you run it through the dryer one time and it's there forever.
Oh, yeah.
It's never coming off. And my mom was like, these don't, you can't extricate these from the fabric. They're now part of the cloth forever. And yeah, so as I got, as I was a kid and wore the pant, the coloring of the patch went away.
Yeah, real quick.
But the adhesiveness never did. So, we didn't have a lot of extra clothes when I was a kid.
They're like knee pucks.
Yeah, really. Yeah, they're
Did
just
you
there
have the
forever.
iron-on knee patches?
Oh,
yeah.
all of them.
I could
Yeah.
actually use those right now. If they had them in Kevlar.
They
you
do.
just Take
Yeah.
your regular jeans. And
Super
I had
fucking
one
cool.
of those patches that had a bulldog on it and it said, I eat pussy. Hey, I'm not kidding you. I thought it was so cool, but I didn't even know what it
You
meant.
have no idea. Our not band camp counselor, one of our, you guys probably went to 6th grade camp. It was, for the kids, we had the one opportunity to go to 6th grade camp in the summertime. And Mr. Bowden was like the school handyman guy that also became a critical element of camp somehow. And every day he wore a different Daffy Dance shirt. And the one that was my favorite was a picture of a large, like a moonshine jug, but it was clear. And it had a cat somehow stuffed into it. And it said, "Happiness is a tight pussy." And he wore this around 6th grade children religiously, right? For like a week of 6th grade summer camp.
Until he got fired.
But again, this is the world we lived in back then, And that was that print was available at Daffy Dan's. We all know it was.
Have you ever been out on Caves Road and gone past Daffy Dan's mansion?
Yes, absolutely.
Back in the day, occasionally in the summer, you'd go by and they'd have a party.
Yeah.
And there'd be like bands playing and stuff. Like he was
Daffy
the guy.
Dan's a good fellow. Well, I can show you guys on Carnegie
It was on my list.
where or is that Superior? It doesn't matter. Podcast listeners, we're on the 4th floor of a formerly massive factory. Daffy Dan's has a warehouse full of fucking cool cars.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, some of the coolest. And I did a deal one time with a London black cab, and I ended up going, he's like, oh, well, you got to come and help me sell this thing. I went, took the freight elevator up to the 4th floor, went in, and you could eat off of any part of this 20,000 square foot warehouse, and 40 cars.
But
and they were all cool.
But for listeners
Yeah.
outside of Cleveland, Daffy Dan was the guy to go to for T-shirts. So he's a T-shirt mogul.
He
So
really
this
is.
guy just started printing T-shirts out of a tiny little joint.
There's a
And
blast from your
And if it didn't have the DD on the sleeve, it's not a T-shirt. What was
well,
it?
it's not a Daffy Dan
No,
T-shirt.
it said Daffy Dan the T-shirt man. If it doesn't have DD on the sleeve,
It's just underwear.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Just underwear.
Hey, speaking of warehouses,
I wasn't done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you were.
You were. But no, but
Oh, he's done.
somebody was floating around on the thing on social media. They had pictures of a warehouse they just tore down in Ravenna, and when they went to it, there was 240 motorcycles on the second floor of it.
Wow.
But they were all. I mean, like the guy was like, "Can you imagine like finding this?" And I'm looking, and I swear to God, like 900 of them were Viragos. So I was
I
like,
threw Daffy Dan up on the screen for our
Esteemed
listeners at
listeners.
home. Anybody's, but he's just one of those guys that he's pretty cool. I thought he was just a Cleveland icon. So
Well,
to
he
speak.
also made the official WMMS Buzzard.
The Buzzard.
oh
Yeah.
right.
Printed all the Buzzard wear.
That's exactly
back
right.
in the day.
That's why he was attached to rock and roll. Like he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
part of the whole.
Yeah.
There was a time when a warehouse full of 200 fixer-upper motorcycles would be exciting to me.
Right.
That time is in my rear view mirror.
Years ago, before I opened my shop, there's a shop down in Columbus, Ohio called Rice Paddy. And Rice Paddy's legendary. 4 floors of Japanese and only Japanese motorcycles. And there's a system. I've never figured it out. And for a while there, I was friends with a couple of guys that worked there. I was working in Columbus, so I'd go into Rice Paddy because I'd need these parts for a KZ1000. I need these parts for, a Z1R. I need these parts for whatever. And you'd go in there and you'd talk to the Rain Man effect was strong. And you'd be like, yeah, I need parts for a Suzuki GS850G, 3rd floor, 7th row, 3rd room.
Those are the guys that have the mini bike at Mid Ohio. That's like 30
That's
feet
six
long.
people.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Those are the same people, one and the same. So yeah, pretty fun stuff. But now I do not get excited about that situation. I go into a place like that and I just get stressed.
You're like, how many There's like 1,000 carburetors. I bought.
10,000 carbs around me waiting. Yeah, if you don't move for long enough, they're going to attack you.
Right.
I get
Take
stressed
you
when
away.
I see the small piece of that in my garage.
Right.
And I don't need more of what I have.
I after bringing those 4 back from New Orleans, and then Phil decided to drop a lift on me and shoved everything in my garage. I
We
don't even wanna open
discussed
the
that
door.
before you went to New
Oh, I
Orleans.
know.
And that was a fixed point on the timeline.
I don't even want to open the door to my garage right now.
Yep.
I know a lot of people would probably enjoy having a lift dropped on them.
Right. Especially that motherfucking lift.
Oh, yeah.
That lift is a monster.
I've never seen a lift get manhandled with a winch before just to move it.
So manhandled. Those Daffy Dan's t-shirts, by the way, the WMMS Jeff Kinsbach Buzzard Morning Zoo shirts are selling for $120 a piece right
No
now.
shit.
Wow.
Yep, right meow. So if you've got that stuff,
New old stock?
I don't think there's any other way, baby.
I mean, how
No,
many?
I
of
think these are just. I think these are.
What do you
Repops?
think? What do you
No,
think?
no, I think these are OEMs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the percentage of them that don't smell like cigarette smoke is?
0.
But it's
Yeah.
it's like the old scratch and sniff stuff, except
Yeah.
for you don't have to scratch it; it just smells.
Look,
Yeah,
and
it
that's
just
like
exists that
and that
way.
was an extra large, but in the 70s, the
But
extra
did you
large
see
is
what's
like
on the
fucking
back?
fine.
Look what's on the back of it.
Oh yeah, Daffy Dan.
How cool is that? Daffy
And the
Dan
buzzard.
and the buzzard. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So for people,
Dude, that's
who,
great. Like he was the king of marketing. Like partnering with 100.7. Look at that. He's like half the shirt.
well, yeah.
That's brilliant.
Hey, would you like to have all the promotional pull in the world and not pay for it? Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Who's paying for these shirts, Dan? Well, WMMS is, of course. Yeah, that's brilliant.
I'll give you half off.
Such a great deal. But that is for sure one of those strange things where I go, yep, we probably all had 7 or 8 of those shirts that were thrown away free at some event or some concert.
Now, is that a...
All my shirts were from WDVE. Sorry, I was a Pittsburgh.
You're Pittsburgher, yeah, right, yeah.
Your guy didn't have a joint. Look at that. He's like a little smoke coming
Oh,
out. of the fucking window.
no, those are coffees. Yeah, that's for the morning zoo.
Oh, all right.
And that's new because you see it says 100.7. That's
Yeah, I
Jeff
was thinking that
Kinsbach.
too,
Yeah, it doesn't say 101. So
Speaking of joints, is anybody planning on growing weed this summer? Because technically, right, you could just have some weed plants in your backyard, right?
Up to 8
I'm
of
not the
them.
guy to ask about that, but the
Yeah,
guy to ask about
up
that
to
is sitting
3.
immediately to your right and to your further right.
You're allowed to have 3? I thought it was 6.
Yeah, 6 per person, and then up to 2 adults per house. So as long as you're married, you could have 12 plants.
There you go.
That'd be a lot of weed.
That's a
in
lot
the
of
back.
plants.
It's too much. That's a lot. Like,
You think you'll see that? Like just driving around Lakewood, some dude's got I'm growing them up on my balcony.
Window
Why
boxes.
not? Right.
I can tell you, at one time I accidentally did 6, and they all got really big, and that was like 2 weeks of 50 hours a week of cutting and trimming. And
What?
Oh.
Really?
oh, dude,
Yeah,
it's
Oh, that's so much work.
it is.
Dude.
That sounds awful.
And
No,
the scissors
it's
get
really
sticky
cheap
after
at the
like.
dispensary right now.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
I mean,
you go to Michigan, it's stupid.
oh yeah.
I just got I'm a caregiver, so I got my new, they send me these updates now that they're changing the laws.
Yeah.
And they said that my caregiver license, which by the way, the person I give care to is no longer on this planet.
Right.
Yet I am still registered as a caregiver.
Of course.
Once a caregiver, always a caregiver.
I guess I am. I just care that much. But what I think is hilarious is they sent me a thing saying that due to the law changing, they were saying, oh, well, you're not going to be able to get recreational at the dispensaries for caregivers anymore. But we were forced to reduce the cost of your caregiver's license to 1 penny. So my caregiver's permit has gone from $25 or $35 or whatever it was down to 1 penny.
I think
And they
that-
said they're hoping to reduce it more.
I think that's everybody with a medical card. It's now
1
penny. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Send them a quarter, it'll last the rest of your life.
Just tape it to the piece of paper like the old Columbia Records and Tapes Club. Yeah, with just tape an extra penny, you get 5 more.
Payment stamps.
Payment stamps.
S&H.
That's right. Yeah, green stamps, eagle stamps. We get them all. Boy, we have really done. This is throwback. This podcast right now is straight up saying, "Fuck you, millennials."
Yeah.
we don't want your kind around here.
So
Yeah.
for the kids at home, there was this thing called S&H green stamps where they would give you at like a Kroger,
Anywhere you went.
any grocery,
Right.
and you would exchange them much like you would skee ball tickets.
How about Camel Cash?
Oh yeah.
Didn't you have like a big sheet where you were supposed to stick them all? on
Yeah.
the sheet?
Yeah, book.
Yeah, book.
Well,
Get a book.
we were talking about Marlboro a couple days ago. So.
My grandma got tons of shit because she worked at Pick and Pay, and people would be like, she would intentionally not remind them about their stamps. Well, I know you're in a hurry, Becky. And so she'd take all the stamps for herself. So my grandmother, a book of stamps a day.
I like the guy that worked in inventory when he was supposed to be loading up the machines. He'd
Speaking of
snag a few-
inventory,
Yeah.
go ahead, finish, Chris.
Here we go. That's what Mrs. Smith said. Woof.
I just like the fact that they're
We're waiting for you to finish.
hey, Grandpa, I'm sorry you got cancer, but that's a sweet silk jacket.
Yeah. You go and clean out the guy's house after he dies, and it got Marlboro everything.
Yeah.
You got the Marlboro boat.
Yeah.
Got the camel boat. Got all
8-ball
of it.
jacket from the 80s.
I remember the last thing that Grandpa said to me was, sure you got a hold of that ladder?
Yeah. Totally. What could possibly go wrong? One of the things we wanted to talk about is people have been buying and riding the Scrambler 400X. And that's a bike that we talked about in this podcast. And they are available for purchase now. I went to our local Triumph dealer, walked in and had a chat with the guys. You know, we've been friends for a long time. And I went in and I got to throw a leg over this motorcycle. I didn't get to ride it. The day I went, it was snowing. But it was a good time for me to spend, just about an hour at the Triumph dealership.
Was it the Steve McQueen edition?
It was the matte khaki green. They don't call it a Steve McQueen edition unless you spend
Yet.
an extra $10,000, right? Exactly. They haven't decided how far they want to push the price limit on that one.
Because if you own a Steve McQueen,
Right. I think I
Scrambler.
should get it for free.
that's going to have to come next, right?
No. The reason I wanted to bring it up, though, is this is made in India. So this is by the folks at Bajaj for Triumph. And I have to say, I have ridden up close and personal many times with the Royal Enfield Himalaya. And what I can promise you...
The Royal Anal Field.
Well, the Royal Oil Field, I can promise you that this particular motorcycle is remarkably higher fit and finish wise. The fit and finish on this bike, if you would have told me that this thing was made in Japan or Thailand, or I would have said, of course it is. Looking at the fixtures, looking at the items that are on the bike, it is a really nice piece of kit. It's not chintzy looking. It isn't. And the switchgear and the stuff, it's not chintzy. It comes with handguards already on it. Pretty nice.
I wonder if the manufacturer was like, "Hey, it's Triumph. Let's not fuck this up."
Maybe.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like they're giving us maybe they saw it as an opportunity that it actually is.
It's Triumph. We have to build 1/10 of the number of bikes that we sell in a month for export.
That's also true, too. That's absolutely true, too. Yeah, when you go to Bajaj and you say, hey, Bajaj, I need you to build a lot of these. And Bajaj says, what exactly do you define as a lot? And you say, like, 12,000. And they're like, that is not a lot.
Yeah, right.
That is, like, not where we come from.
Yeah.
No, that is not a lot. But what's interesting is the number of people that are butthurt about 55.95.
Yeah.
And people are fucking angry about that price tag being that high. It is $500 more than the Street 400, which is the least expensive Triumph you can buy right now. Now, just me going into the dealership, I can promise you that I am not a candidate to buy the Street. I'm not. There's no part of that Street motor. The Street does not appeal to me at all. It's just, I don't care about it. The motorcycle to me, the 400 Street looks extraordinarily basic. And it has no more luster than the CB300 that isn't an R, right? It's just a very basic standard motorcycle. And, hey, you might be into that. But the Scrambler actually looks pretty fucking good. And the stuff on it, like the gold upside down front forks, brings the overall appearance package, and like I'm getting something for my money here. It really does a good job.
The only thing that's bothering me
Sure.
is anytime you have a standard kind of motorcycle like this, I think one of the things I always look for is a straight line from the seat through the tank, because it kind of gives it like that flat top kind of motorcycle look. And this one, the tank is dropped down. It's drooping by like 7 to 8 degrees there, maybe 10. And to me, it just looks like there's something wrong. Like the tank is falling down. I don't know. Like
I don't have a problem with the tank. I think the tank's right. It's just the way that they put the pillion up in the air a little bit like that.
Maybe, yeah.
If they'd have just went straight back with that, but I don't know. Maybe it's for clearance. That doesn't look like that back wheel is going to take all that travel. I mean, that's between the tire and the fender is fucking a foot.
yeah, it's 8 to 10 inches.
I don't like the wheels. Gotta have
Spokes.
wheels.
Yeah,
You
should
know,
have had
not-
spokes.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
laced
a
wheel,
price
I mean.
point.
Yep.
So what
Laced
is
wheels.
the suspension travel on this?
Let's find out.
Well, the front you can see has
Yeah.
got to be 3 to 4 inches max. And then the back,
You got a
I
little
bet
more.
that's 6 inches.
Yeah, 5 to 6.
It depends whether you
Survey
measure from the top or the bottom.
wait, that's 6 inches? Damn.
Survey says she's got a 19 on the front. She's got a 17 in the back. And her travel is, anyone see it? I don't see it. 150 millimeters of wheel travel.
That's 6 inches.
6 inches.
All right.
Yep.
You know what's interesting is it might have different size rims, but the tires are exactly the same size.
Well, the OD is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a big trick for a
So
long time.
that's a twin, right?
That was a single.
It's
It's
a single.
single.
Right.
It's a single.
a single.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I like the way the exhaust.
It's a dual overhead cam. It's a 4-valve. What'd you say?
I like the way the header pipe follows the frame line there.
It does. Yeah, it does.
And it probably keeps it from getting smashed if you fucking hit a rock.
They
Speaking of
advertise
getting
this
smashed.
bike as 39 horsepower. And the reason I want you to remember that, there's two numbers I want you to remember as we take a little dive into some other information here. The first thing is, remember that 40 horsepower, 39.5. And
That's
remember,
kind of a lot from a 400 single.
yes, it is. That complies with the 100 horsepower per liter rule that used to be the standard of a very high output motorcycle, right? If you had a 1,000cc motorcycle, you had 100 horsepower, game the fuck on, right? And if you had a 400cc motorcycle like the old Honda CB1 or the CBR 400RR, one of the only motorcycles that actually made 40 horsepower for 400 cc's, and you might have owned a Honda CB450 Black Bomber, which made 42.7 horsepower for its 450 cc's, which in 1969 was something to fucking talk about because its British bikes that were 650cc competitors were not making 42.5 horsepower. Six-speed transmission in this thing. But remember the 5599 because that number is going to come into play. Right, meow. There are a lot, and I mean a lot, of 400cc motorcycles, 300 to 400cc motorcycles in the market right now. And there's so many that...
How much is a Ninja 400? Because there's a Ninja 400,
I'm
right?
looking at it right now. They're right in
cylinder.
the same market.
Sure are.
Yeah, it's within
Absolutely.
a couple $100.
Absolutely. And so the reason I wanted us to talk about that briefly, because I don't want to kill the whole podcast on this one topic, because we do tend to gravitate towards these middleweight or lightweight motorcycles, which doesn't shock anybody. But guess what? There's plenty of Harley podcasts out there, so we don't have to worry too much about those.
Well, what is the cost of a 2024 Grom?
So a Ninja 400 is $58.99. To answer your question,
Because think about this: like, if this is within $1,000 or $1,500 to a Grom, like this would be a great compared to a Grom. It would be such a better first bike that you could actually take play. That has bigger wheels, like you know what I'm saying. Like it's a pretty good motor.
It's the same price as a Husqvarna,
Schwittbeilen.
Svartpillen, and Vitpillen, right? Black Arrow and
Should be.
White Arrow.
It should be. Bajaj makes those too.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
They got better wheels. Though.
Right.
They should have took the wheels from that one.
And do we think that maybe they're the same fucking motor? I do.
God, I hope not.
Why wouldn't they be?
Because I've ridden the Bajaj Svartbeilen, and that thing was a pile.
Well,
I hope they got better.
right, but my point is, if Husqvarna is paying Bajaj to build something for them, and if Triumph is paying Bajaj to build something for them, one would think that Bajaj would be well in its wheelhouse to say, let's make them more similar than they are different. Just in the idea of keeping the parts
This is
inexpensive.
us going back to the Linhai motor, but
Right.
yeah, it makes sense. I
Right.
just can't tell you if they are.
Because I see a 43 millimeter WP fork on the Svart and the Vitpillen, right, which is a nice piece of kit. So that's pretty cool. But again, that price $56.49, again, right in that same goddamn hunt as that Triumph. So
Well, if we're talking oddballs and bikes in the same market and the same money, because this was the conversation we had earlier setting this up. Rebel 500 is right there.
yeah, Rebel 500 is right there.
That's the Scrambler model with the high pipe.
Or the Scrambler, right? Yeah.
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
But it's still ugly compared to this thing.
I don't know.
The Scrambler's beautiful. I love this.
You like the Rebel Scrambler? You like the Rebel Scrambler? Yeah,
That's a sexy bike.
you do like that one. Yeah.
There's no way you're talking about the same.
Oh
bike.
yeah, no.
That's a great bike, man.
I'm not going to call it sexy, but I'm going to call it very like utilitarian.
Well-
And I would.
You got to remember, I like girls with glasses. And not a very pretty hairdo.
No.
just real average,
Now, Phil, if we're going to bring a ringer into this,
but approachable.
the KLR 650 is the exact same.
Yeah, and that's we were gonna get to that. Yeah, we were gonna get to that.
That was my
'cause-
thought when I saw the bike and the price. I'm like, I'd bump a little more money and get a KLR or a DR.
So
Completely different machine.
it's a
though.
totally different machine. It is. Yeah.
Me personally.
It's
Right.
the same bike it's been
Me
since
personally,
1986.
yeah.
I don't know what you're
Asked,
talking.
would you buy this bike?
Right.
How much is a DRZ 400?
$8,000.
No,
Those are low. Well,
are they bad?
yeah, because the Honda, because I keep looking at the Honda Rally, the 300, it's expensive.
DSR is $69.99, $7,000.
Yep.
And that's for the S model. That's the the dirt bike, right? I'm sure the DRZ SM is going to be a little bit more. So that's very, very, very interesting to me. And the Himalaya is the same fucking price.
Yep.
And the Himalaya also brags about its 40 horsepower, even though it's a 450cc motor. But looking at this thing and kind of going through all the different bikes that are in that price point, there's a lot. I mean, there are a lot of 400s in the market now. It's real easy to get confused. We are been overrun with 400s. The Versys 300.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Yeah, right.
$58.99 for no ABS.
How we wax so much about? Well, there's no beginner bikes in the market.
We're done.
Our first
Everything
5 years of our podcast was all about.
Now everybody's.
These manufacturers need to do something to bring in new.
They
riders.
listen to
Well,
us.
They finally listen.
You know what? We were telling people to go out and buy CB350s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a good 250 to 400 bike in the market 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And now what we can tell you is there absolutely are shit tons of
It's
them.
So
almost
what
fun.
we just talked about, you got a scrambler, you got a standard,
But you gotta wait. I'm sorry. You gotta wait 5 more years before they're worth half what they paid for.
But you got like a throwback bike.
Yeah.
You got a dual sport.
Yep.
There's all kinds of choices.
Well,
for that
and then
kind of
we're,
money.
we haven't even talked about CF-Moto yet,
We're not,
which is all over this market.
we can though, because they are all over this market, but they're not doing, in my opinion, they don't have a vanity bike. They don't have what Pete's talking about, which is a bike that has a good, solid identity. And where CF Motos hit the market is with these two machines. And neither one of these bikes is appealing to me. So when I look at...
Is it the CLX on the left?
I honestly, Tom,
Yeah.
I can only tell you it's a CF Moto 400 or a 300, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah,
300
there.
SS,
Yeah.
right? And the NK. These are bikes that exist right now at your CF Moto dealer. And I at this point, I am still saying they are lacking. Now, these are $44.99. So, that's $1,000 less than the Indian-made Triumph Bajaj Scrambler 5 or 400. But neither one of these bikes is attractive to me at all. Like, these bikes do not hit it for me. Like, looking at these machines, nope, zero desire.
Let me ask you this.
Right.
What if, so you have the genuine G400Cs, right?
Yep.
What if, like, MASH or whatever started bringing over the Scrambler, the Cafe, or something like that? Would you?
MASH doesn't have to. Genuine has to.
You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
But like,
Let's just, hey, in case somebody's listening to our podcast who has any sway, would it be in your best interest? Or did Genuine already find out that even selling the bike at $39.99, because I'm bad at math, but what's the difference between $39.99 and $55.99?
$1,500.
$2,600.
Wait, how much? 4 and 50?
Oh yeah, you're right.
15.
Thank you. $1,600.
Yeah.
That's a massive percentage of the price of the bike.
You are right. You're bad at math.
Yeah, that's what 30% difference in the price of the bike, right?
This is why he doesn't do F&I.
So, 35% difference in the price of the bike. And I can tell you how people did not run to my shop to buy a $39.99 fuel-injected 400cc motorcycle.
Still trips me out because I still want one of these days because it's a CB fucking 350 that doesn't suck and it's bigger and it's faster. And I mean, I don't know. I think it's great. But anyways, I just want to know if this Triumph would still be as appealing at $5,600 if there was other Scramblers that had like the decent motor like the G400.
Oh, and I totally agree that the G400C is not going to be pushing around 40 horsepower.
No, that's true.
I also question that the Himalaya 450 is putting out 40. I also question that this Triumph 400 is putting out 40. I think that's putting out 40 marketing department horsepower. But I have not found a dyno test yet that says what the real number is.
And realistically, with the 400cc bike or any of these smaller ones, nobody cares about the horsepower.
No.
Will it go 70? Like
that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And, what has been a bike that I've never understood, because I've ridden a bunch of them, and I do not understand this motorcycle or the desire to own this motorcycle, is the Enfield Meteor. And I cannot possibly... Well, okay, there it is, right? It's 350 cc's. And again, they're saying that there's 20 horsepower and magically 20 foot-pounds of torque, right? But I don't think there is, because I've ridden them, and they do not feel like 20 horsepower, 20 foot-pounds of torque bikes. They just don't. And it is $800 less than the Triumph Scrambler. But man, do I feel like there is a hell of a lot of different product there for your $800. And I get it. The Classic, the Meteor Classic, looks every bit as vintage as the Royal Enfield Bullet 500 Classic that John and I have intimate knowledge of. And we're not quite impressed with, right? They look cool. They look neat. But I do not like the way that these bikes put what little power they have to the ground. And I can also tell you that if you try to ride them at over 60 miles an hour, bad, expensive pieces of the motor can escape. So I'm not a fan. I just will not say this is a bike that I really want to own. Not at all. So, yeah, I know I got no dog in the hunt, man. We're not a Royal Enfield dealer. We're not a Triumph dealer. That's not where I am. There's the DRZ 400 SM for the guys that are paying attention at home that wanted the deets. That DRZ is $77.99, a full $800 more than the DRZ 400S. So that that Motard adds $800 to that bike. And wow, still has a carburetor.
What's that to the right of it? What's the red?
So that's the Gixxer 250. The Gixxer 250R.
Oh, Suzuki finally decided to make a lightweight little sport bike. Wow.
It's been a long time,
20
right?
years too late.
It's been a long time. And that one's $5,000. So that's $49.99. So the Gixxer, the Gixxer 250 ABS. And, the sad thing is when you're doing a shootout like this, and every other bike in the shootout's either a 300 or a 390 or 400 or 410, Gixxer goes, we got a 250, right? But I can't imagine they're selling many of those. I just can't imagine people are going in there wanting to buy that platform, even if it is only, a steal at $5,000.
Well, and the thing about, I think, those smaller 250 bikes is that every one that they sell probably goes through 8 owners. You know what I mean? It's like it's a bike that gets turned over every year or two.
Hey, Tom, how lightly stolen is the Yamaha R3 that's in our shop right now?
my favorite, the entire. Can you make the column lock work? And I looked at it and went, not without a new ignition.
The pieces that make a column lock are not there.
They're not there.
They were vaporized the first time it was attempted to be stolen,
Yep.
right? They just didn't survive,
Is that like an MT-04?
Yeah, the MT-03. The MT-03 is $49.99. That is the cheapest way you can get a Yamaha. Is the MT-03 with the Barbie baby blue wheels. Yep. Not a bad color.
Is that the Eliminator at the bottom, the Kawasaki?
That is or some people kind of call it a Star 250.
Star 250.
A V-Star 250. Yep. Yamaha V-Star 250. And that's $46.99. So, I just wanted to bring that up. That's where the market is right now. If you want to know money-wise what it's going to cost you, $5,500. You want a 300, you want a 400. There's quite a few. God, there's so many out there.
And then you think
2 Harley Sportsters.
And then you think of Dan's bike and how good of a deal that fucking bike is at what he paid for it for what you get compared to these things.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Moving into the 660 class from the 400 class doesn't cost you that much more money.
No, and you get such more bike.
You do get a lot more bike. Yeah. Would you rather have a Versys 300 or a Versys 650? All day long, 650.
Well, no, but Dan's bike is
Come out
the
of pocket?
size of bike where, like, if
Right.
you wanted to travel around the country, you can do it on that. You're not doing that on the Scrambler 400.
No. It's going to be a whole different kind of
I mean,
trip.
if you're an 80-pound female,
Right.
maybe, you can be comfortable enough to travel. But for a dude, you're not going 4 or 5 hours on
Yeah,
a
and
400.
I would totally ride that Tiger across the country.
Absolutely.
No problem
Yeah.
whatsoever.
No doubt.
Yeah. It's very comfortable. It just is.
It's in a very, very nice class. I think that 660 class hits me right in this could totally be a daily commuter.
In the Gazintas.
Yeah, it does, because all those years I spent riding a 650cc single, whether it was my DR or my KLR, it's not a great bike to go 75 miles an hour on. Just not great. But you can absolutely.
So have
Are you cold, John? You chilly?
Well, I kind of want to take a nap, but I'm a little too cold. I think
Okay.
He needs a blankie.
So
Okay.
have they said what the Triumph 250 dirt bike is going to cost?
Nope. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying I haven't seen it.
I think it's racing Supercross now.
I know Ducati is. They just won something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ducati's dirt bike just won something.
Well, I was reading up a little bit about the Triumph 250. They're saying it makes, see if I can remember the numbers right. It makes 80% of its peak torque
Blanket over there,
from
too.
6,500 RPMs to 14,000 RPMs.
That's twisting it a little tight.
Maybe it's only 12,000.
Oh my God, that's a lot. Yeah, that
You
is
got to
twisting
check
it
my
tight.
numbers on that.
9,995 doll hairs.
Not-
10 grand. 10 grand for a 250. They call the TF 250X. Yeah, the 250X. And that's what it is. And yes, you can buy that. Yep.
Did they have it in the dealership here in Cleveland?
I did not see one when I was in there.
Because when I was out in Vancouver, they had one at the Vancouver Motorcycle Show.
Oh, they did?
And it was a good-looking bike.
Very
Yeah,
good
I guess
looking
they-
bike. Fucking very good looking bike. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fierce machine. That is a fierce machine. But again, I'm not a dirt bike kind of fella, so it's it lacks the required things that I need, meaning a street title, headlights, taillights, and turn signals.
Wait, you're talking about the Triumphs?
I am talking about the Triumph dirt bike.
So, do you know where that's made? Is that coming out of India as well? Is that what you said? Or no?
I couldn't tell you. I'll bring you
No,
a picture.
No,
it's not.
That is coming out of Birmingham, England.
It is.
No, not BSA. Wait, I'm all confused now.
Go back to sleep.
Where were Triumphs bound?
They're made in like
Hinckley or
Triumph or
I-
Singapore or
I
something?
think it was
Or,
made. I think it's coming out
Thailand or Singapore?
Thailand, probably.
of. No, I think the Triumph MX is coming out of England. I could be wrong.
okay.
It would be Hinckley.
I have
or
an
the other
answer.
place.
Oh, I hear typing.
Yeah, you do. It's yeah. That's the people are playing it along.
We're gonna get answers.
Yes, we are going to get that.
We
yes,
demand them.
yes, we demand. We need answers.
This is the Triumph that was.
Where are the Triumph motocross bikes made? Hinckley.
Yeah,
There.
Hinckley. So I was
I'm not stupid.
just a stone's throw from the Mallory Park racetrack. There are also 3 factories in Chonburi, Thailand.
Yeah.
Three factories in Chonburi, Thailand, and 1 in Manaus, Brazil. That goes back to the Uncle Phil rule. If you have 3 factories in Thailand, 1 in Brazil, but you also have 1 in Hinckley, it is not 15 or 20% per factory. No. I think that the 1 in Hinckley makes 6 bikes a year. so
Or
that
they
can
make the
save
badge that says "Made in Hinckley."
Well, that's
assembled in Hinckley.
that's always the joke.
They're doing all the rapid prototyping.
Sure, right, yeah. So they're going out there. Hey, who knows? But here's what we do know: it's a killer dirt bike.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
$10,000 dirt bike, right?
Yeah.
But it is for people that are into dirt bikes. I do not, under any circumstances, want to throw shit on this thing because I'm not a dirt bike guy.
In
right?
Supercross right now, there's no less than 8, maybe 9 manufacturers competing. Which, back in the day,
Yeah.
there was just the 4 Japanese.
Sure.
And then KTM came on the scene, and then, Husqvarna came back. And now it's like you can watch a race, and there'll be like 6 bikes in the top 10, 6 different manufacturers.
Yep.
So the field is really.
And
like,
doesn't
evened out.
Ducati have an MX bike now?
That's what we just talked about. They're
Oh,
winning. They just won. They literally they got
They're
a.
only campaigning it in Europe right now. It's definitely not in Supercross yet.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the Supercross field is really just like an even playing field right
I
now.
don't know, but to me, it's fucked up because, like in the old days, you go, "All right, I see the green bikes. I know the Kawasaki is doing great." Now you have no idea what bike is what.
You're
'cause of the
absolutely right.
Yeah,
Yep. And I'm gonna
What is that? It's a Triumph.
yeah. How do you-
Supercross used to be on every Saturday night, like on USA Network or something.
Yeah.
They put it on Peacock or something. I haven't seen any of it since they put it on Peacock because I refuse to subscribe.
You're not going to
something
pay for that.
just to watch the races,
Right.
Yeah.
So I hope they're listening.
Well, there you go.
I've heard other people complain about it too. Like I check in on Sunday morning to see what happened the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But I watch the highlight reel on YouTube or something. I don't watch the races.
The this is something that we chatted about in our podcast. One of our podcast Patreons brought this to my attention, and very happy they did, because this kind of got swept under the rug. We forgot about it. I don't know, for lack of a better term. So Norton.
Hey, Norton.
Hey, Norton.
Hummin.
So Norton, look it up, because we don't need to go into that. But Norton ripped off old British people, for lack of a better term, of their retirement funds. Because in England, you're in charge of your own retirement fund. You can determine where your retirement fund is invested. And, based on standards and practices and SEC rules, like that we used to have in our country, businesses are supposed to not be performing illegal acts, right? And what's happened is this particular company pissed away a whole bunch of people's retirement benefits, and they were fast and loose with the money. And some people are arguing that they really never had any practical intention or potential to actually produce what they said they were going to. Meanwhile, Stuart Garner made himself the majority shareholder of this company and lived the life of a fucking Abu Dhabi sheik, and just gave himself literally a castle to live and run a factory out of, and did piss away people's money, and stole over $11.5 million. That was, he used a lot more than that, but that's the money that they can say was stolen from people's retirement accounts. And there's a whole new level of hell for me if you are pissing away people's retirement account. And so they are going to have to pay back a portion of that, a large portion of that. I'm sure there will be legal fees, and I'm sure that the people, if that was your retirement and you were counting on that, 400,000 pounds to retire on, you might be lucky and get 150,000 of that back.
Well, in reading the article too, they do mention some guy that died, so never saw his retirement money.
Saw his retirement money.
And the way I read it, though, is that these people had the option to take the retirement money and invest it back into Norton, is the way I read it. So they actually made a decision as opposed to your retirement fund is somewhere and this guy goes and just snags it. So there was some knowledge on their part taking a swing at it.
They absolutely, these are people, 227 people that believed in Norton Motorcycle Company. 227 people that maybe used to work at Norton or maybe used to own a Norton, and got told, isn't this a great place to put your money where your mouth is? We need more motorcycle industry in England, and we're going to do it.
And this is the guy to do it for you. Right.
This is the guy to do it for you. And then when they got in trouble the first time, right, they came back and said, nope, this fella right here, this guy said, I know it looks like we're in trouble, but this is my money in the game too, and I'm gonna get all our money back for us. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. And when he was supposed to be getting their money back for him, he didn't get their money back for him. So that's unfortunate, and that's something that happens. And
well, addendum to that.
Yeah.
The big question I have is because TVS bought Norton from him.
Oh, did TVS?
TVS bought them. They continued the 961 for a little while longer.
Right.
And they're going to start building them again right next to the BMW. Because I was looking up the BMW GX 310.
Right.
Or 310X.
Yep.
And I always thought it was Bajaj, but it's TVS.
TVS.
That builds the 310 for BMW. Right. Which is actually a really nice bike.
Yep.
So the question is, they bought it for $16 million, and the question is, does that 9.5 come from that 16?
Right. That's an excellent question. And the TVS, when we were working many, many years ago with Bajaj TVS was you didn't say Bajaj unless you said TVS with it. So it was Bajaj /TVS. So that represents a lot of capital.
Yep. That
represents a hell of a lot of capital. That's like when people used to say Honda Kinetic. Like you're like Honda Kinetic, and you're like, oh, I've heard of Honda. Like, well, they are a shadow of Kinetic. It's like, yeah, you've heard of Honda because you live in America, right? But anywhere else in the world, you'd be riding a Kinetic. Right. So the very interesting story, very sad story, because these people were all about doing something they love that they're passionate about. And I feel like, that's what happens is you people prey on passion. Con men prey on passion. They prey on that. They want, you want that to happen. You want to be.
There's certain segments of market that preys on passion.
Of course.
Complete marketing departments.
Yeah. That's why people have very, very, very big opinions about Dodge, Ford, or Chevrolet.
Right.
Everybody knows you buy Toyota.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but most Harley Davidson shareholders that when I get my notice and stuff like that, when I look at the breakdown of how many shares, how much stock, Harley Davidson has so many small, less than $5,000 shareholders, because these are people that have it tattooed on their chest.
Right.
And they got a little bit of money now, and they want to buy some Harley stock.
Yeah, and they want to tell their buddies, I own Harley.
I own Harley, right? Yeah. That's exactly it. So
I recycled a bunch of Busch Light cans and I bought Harley stock. Yeah.
when I bought my Harley stock was very, very cheap.
Yeah.
And I bought it because I just said, thanks to lobbying that has happened on Harley's behalf circa 1983, right? And the power of a chicken tax and all these other things, we know that America's not going to let Harley Davidson go away. And when the Harley stock was so desperately cheap in the mid-90s, I bought it because it was like, wow, they're just giving this away. It was so cheap. Now, I'm never going to get rich on the Harley stock.
Well, once that live wire takes off, you will.
And once I go bankrupt in 5 years after all the returns on the bikes I can't repossess, you might actually get a payout from the government. They bail them out.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that. So I really don't want to go into that.
Anyway,
I really don't want to go into that. That's not good.
What's your
Don't
next
worry, when
investment,
Bajaj-
Uncle Phil? Are you going to get behind this Norton thing?
No, I'm not.
when Bajaj buys them, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely
Hero's
fine.
probably next.
Yeah, it'll be fine. The new Livewire Del Mar, which depending on which marketing department you're watching, is either a Harley Davidson Del Mar, S2 Del Mar, or it's a Livewire Del Mar. But what's funny is they call it the Cruiser. It's the Del Mar Cruiser.
I thought it was called the Mulholland.
The Mulholland. That's exactly right. Yep, that's right. Well, because the Del Mar is the sport bike,
All right.
the standard bike, and the Mulholland is the part of the conventional naming structure of the
Those
live
Harley
wires.
guys are going to sell their Harleys and go buy that electric cruiser. I just know
You
it.
just know it.
Don't bulk on this stuff. Phase 2.
The San Luis Obispo.
I heard they all come with a
It's
bag
called
of.
the SLO.
They're going to give them all a bag of potatoes with every sale.
Oh God, it's just. And again, that whole thing about like the live wire. You don't have to do this, but if you do, if you're wandering past our particular Harley Davidson dealer in Brook Park, and you do want to go in there, if you want to see how poorly you can be treated, tell them you want to see the live wire. Walk in there and look them square in the eye and say, you know what? Tell me more about these electric motorcycles, because I really think that's where the future is. And watch how hard they ignore you. Watch how violently they pretend like you don't exist. The last time I went in there and said that, the guy was waiting for me. He was primed with an argument, right? And I never had a salesman come at me so hard and so fast for saying something that should have been like, this is a sales opportunity. But it's not. It's just not.
Oh no.
It's not great.
It's like old Buell guys say. The
Yeah.
worst thing about owning a Buell is you have to walk into a fucking Harley dealer and deal with
That's
them to get parts.
And I can also tell you that for the Buells that I did own, when I had to go in to buy parts for them, they would be like, "Oh no, that's a Buell part. We don't have it." And I was
Yeah.
like, "No, dude, it's a fucking Sportster part. I have the part
Here's the
number
part
right
number.
here.
Doesn't matter."
The fact that I'm wearing a Buell shirt has got you fucked up right now.
Yep.
Please give me this part for my Sportster. Oh yeah, we've got a box of those.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't know it was going on your Buell. The marketing decision of the Livewire is such a strange thing, and it is Livewire when it needs to be Livewire, and it's Harley Davidson when it wants to be Harley Davidson.
You know,
it's very strange.
In their short-sightedness. What they really had to do is the same thing they should have done with Buell, is just spin it off into its own company and put it in its own little box. 'Cause
Well,
that's the easiest way to deal with it.
I don't think that ever worked for Buell.
Oh no, that's.
I don't think it ever did.
Buell.
I think that's why none of us are writing
Yeah.
Buells right now, honestly. I don't think any of us got the chance to.
Yeah.
I don't think that was ever going to be a thing that we
Well.
could do. So it's sad, but it's true.
On your map there, what you still got that?
Oh, you want me to pull that back up?
Oh, was that a Cleveland
Dealer map?
location or was that Chicago? I couldn't tell. There
Oh,
was
you couldn't tell?
a big number 3 that was on there.
Yeah, so the reason I want to pull this up that's so funny is when you pull this, let's cast this out. When you open up their website, it looks like your computer got a virus. Not joking. It really does look like your computer got a virus. For the first second that this thing opens up, you'll swear to God your computer was hacked. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
There's nothing more confidence inspiring than going to a company's website and it looks like some shit from GeoCities in 1989.
Yeah, it's pretty.
You're
It's
like,
pretty.
Oh,
pretty
good,
violent.
Good.
Yeah, it won't let me cast it too. That's another fail. But it's using some weird. It's using some fucking bizarre.
It's using Corel Draw.
Well, see what you got going on there, boys.
God.
Right?
Wow.
Right. So when you open their page, you're like, "Oh, cool, I'm here." Oh no, I got a virus.
Oh, that's some trendy fucking. Oh my god.
Right.
That is the worst website I have ever seen in my life, and I made some really bad ones in my past.
But I want to play that for the folks at home just so they can get a feel for it too.
Mulholland.
There's your website. Cool, you're good. All right. Enjoy your website. Have a good time with that. It's bad. It's not a thing. $15,999. This is their cruiser. And it is not.
Down
Yeah, I've been watching this video. Okay, I still can't see the bike.
There you
Okay,
go.
There's a bike.
That's cruiser,
It's
guys.
a Honda Rebel.
That's cruiser. It is.
Oh my god, it's a Honda
Electric
Rebel
Honda Rebel, yeah.
with a lot more fins. It's a Honda Rebel with fins.
Well, and it's a Honda Rebel with a arguable 80, 90 mile per hour top speed and a realistic 80 mile range.
It's got the opposite problem on that seat of the Triumph Scrambler we just looked at.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Because the tank is going up.
It really likes to pad your nuts.
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing too, and all these fucking bike manufacturers do this. The NC 700 and 750 were guilty of this. Look at the front of that seat. It tilts down just enough so you're constantly going to be slamming your fucking nuts into the gas tank. All these motherfuckers need to start making flat seats.
That's why it's padded.
They always have that 5-degree lean into the tank, and then you can never fucking sit right, and you're constantly sliding into the fucking tank.
How about the meeting that said we got to call it a cruiser because they're demanding a cruiser because Harley people want a cruiser and there's no cruiser electric motorcycles out there at all. So can we put T-bars on this?
Got to hang the bar. Look at the mirrors are hanging down.
Yeah.
Seriously, can we put T-bars on this?
Yeah.
And that's what they did. It is the equivalent of taking a fucking Honda FT500 Ascot,
That's how you can go cruising
right?
on it and get
It is
two bags.
taking an FT500 Ascot and putting T-bars on an FT500 Ascot.
No, once you put the bagger kit on here and the fucking Vetter windscreen, it'll be all right.
Get your club windshield in.
That's right.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I predict they're not going to sell too many of these.
I predict they're not going to sell more than 50. Like, I don't. That is an ugly fucking motorcycle, man.
Yeah, but you say the same thing about the Honda Rebel, so.
Yeah, well, look at it.
Do you know the difference between this and a Honda Rebel? You can buy 3 Rebels for the price of this. Yeah, this is the price of 3 Rebels.
And go and probably.
That's typical.
And a Rebel beats its top speed and beats its range.
I was going to say, like,
Yeah.
and you can go 5 times
But
as far on your Honda Rebel.
That's typical of Honda versus Harley, though. Because
Sure.
if you look at what is the Rebel, what is it, 1,000 or 1,100
Yeah.
now? I can't remember what the big one is.
Yeah.
It's about 12,000.
But look at that. It's not
There's
a big
this
bike.
is their advertisement to show you how comfortable the seat is.
And look at that. That guy, that kid, or whoever's
Oh,
riding
that kid is 105 pounds.
and 5'3".
Yeah.
And he's got
And
the
that
bagger,
bike still looks small.
and he's got the bagger kit on his back.
His blue denim jacket, his
You know what a lot of Harley people do? A lot of them wear white sneakers and fucking sports athletic.
Of course they
shirts
do. No, those are joggers, dude. The
And
guy's wearing
helmet.
joggers.
And he's got a helmet
He's
on.
got a Bell helmet on. By the way, Harley Davidson is now affiliate. They are now, Bell is the official helmet of Harley Davidson's, including in all their ad copy. They're wearing the Bell, and this is what kills me because I know too much about helmets. They're wearing the Bell that has the Japanese rising sun on the side of it, the white Bell with the red rising sun on the side, which is the rising sun Japanese Bell, right? Yeah. Oops.
When I was a kid, I had this plastic space helmet that looked exactly like that.
It does. That's the Bell Bullet. So yeah, the Bell Bullet with the rising sun package, which that helmet hasn't been available.
I wonder if
for quite a
those were
while.
the helmets I saw being made in India by barefoot dudes on dirt floors, putting fucking carbon fiber shit inside a fucking.
Yeah. So yeah, he's wearing a Japanese flag helmet on his Harley Davidson. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
It's a live wire. Don't call it a Harley.
No.
Davidson.
Wait, where are we trying to find that?
But do you want to see a map?
The map?
No idea.
No.
No, we don't want to know where you can buy it.
Actually, yeah. Let's
Okay.
Let's see that map.
I can tell you that I have an idea.
There was a map of dealerships, and there was spots all around.
Yeah.
I wonder.
was
I
just
wonder.
curious if there wasn't in.
I wonder.
Keep looking at that front end like it's a trailing link.
Here's my. You want? I actually have a good thought.
I think that's actually
know-
a failing link.
You know how Harley has the stores that aren't really dealerships because
Right,
they're mostly
okay.
clothing?
Yeah.
They could probably still sell this because there's no gasoline involved.
You know?
So like places in New York and stuff where they have their clothing stores, they could slide a few of these in.
The Harley Davidson dealership in the French Quarter cannot sell bikes because you cannot put anything with gasoline inside of a building inside of the French Quarter. We tried
Right.
that with a rental spot.
So that's what I'm saying. They could probably.
And this, you could, yeah, you're right.
Hey
Tell
guys.
you, all those battery chargers are not.
No, that's definitely not a problem.
I am.
They will never have an EBM
I
problem.
promise you guys. I will click on anything you want me to click on. This website has
How about
decided
that close button?
to stop. The website has decided to stop helping me, and it
Good
will
enough.
not. It will not let me
yeah.
leave the buy now page. It will not let me leave the make a $250 deposit page.
Here's the
You have to
thing.
buy a live wire to get off
It
their website.
will not let me go.
At $8,000, that's not a good bike. At $16,000, that's fucking insane. Like that's insane. Nobody's paying $16,000.
Found
There it
it.
is, there it
Found
is.
it.
There it
Found
is,
it.
there it
Found
is.
it. Found it. Found it. Found it. All right, here we go. Got the map. Got the map.
Why did the map look like it has coronavirus? What is
The
that?
whole website looks like it's got coronavirus.
No Ohio's. Oh wait,
No,
no, wait.
Wait for it.
Is that Columbus?
That is Sunbury.
Or yeah.
Sunbury.
Okay.
Yep, that's Sunbury. Let's see if it'll let me click on
Westchester.
it. And that's Westchester, Ohio, down there in the bottom corner. Yep. And here's the weird thing about it is Westchester does not give me. I do not know what is here at 4600 Premier Way, 4860 Premier Way in Westchester, Ohio. I don't know what it is. It is Queen City Harley Davidson. So did you notice that on that website they have intentionally kept the words Harley Davidson off of this thing?
Yeah.
It tells you that it's at Westchester, but it doesn't tell you that it's at Queen City Harley Davidson.
That's bizarre.
Isn't that bizarre? That they are
So bizarre.
they're legally distinct from Harley
Remember that
Davidson.
song?
So weird.
No.
So bizarre, so
How
bizarre.
bizarre.
How bizarre.
How bizarre.
Okay, good enough for that.
Gigata.
Okay,
Yeah.
just because it's relevant, Sleepy,
Yeah.
what did you pick up at my shop today?
Just a bike.
Herpes.
Pretty much.
I got to get this out of my system, so I am now potatoing.
He
Really?
entered the world of the potato.
Yes.
All right.
It's it is definitely all 2004 up in that joint.
It has a lot of 2000s on it that has to get removed.
Slippy, after you ride it for a month or two, we can swap the America for that.
And see
'Cause
how it
I've never
goes.
really ridden a Harley.
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
But yeah, it needs a little love. It's gonna get a little love. It needs the hypercharger unhypercharged.
It works fine. No, I've ridden the
Really?
shit out of that bike.
Is it all right with the way it is?
Don't change it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Don't change anything about it.
Not even the hypercharger.
If
People are gonna
you
beat
get a-
me up for a bike. You can't go anywhere with the
It doesn't do anything.
Well, I know.
I
But
would
it's like it's basically like showing up with I don't know.
Like what?
I don't know. Like, Harley guys make fun of hyperchargers. Oh, maybe that's a good thing. That
Yeah.
I'm making laugh.
Dude, you
I was going to say, are you worried about being judged?
No,
by
but
Harley
by the
guys?
time I got
By
here,
somebody who made a decision to buy a Harley.
it took me 3 minutes to get from your shop here, and the bike's on the trailer still, and I already had a parole officer call me, and I got an ankle monitor.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. It took 5 minutes.
And a stripper named Candy somehow.
Yeah, somehow I have to pay her alimony now. It's fucking crazy.
You put look. I'm gonna go out here and say it. You put some Moon Eyes stickers on that hypercharger, and even I will look at it and go, nah, it's all right.
All right, yeah, that's not a bad idea. A little moon eyes on the hypercharger. It could use some more eagles.
Exactly. A couple of Freedom Eagles, you'll be fine.
No, but I see what you were doing. Like you got the box of stuff, so like you had all the things to remove the offensive things off the bike and fix it.
There's still a Harley sticker on the frame, man. It's not going anywhere.
We have made significant movement towards the de-douchebagification of this particular motorcycle. And
I mean, I think it's a good looking bike, minus the mirrors and a few of the accoutrements. You know. Yeah.
Yeah. The I'm going to make a very, very basic, very shitty declarative statement. I bought that motorcycle because I wanted to check a very particular box.
Yep.
Right? A very, very particular box. And now you can check that box.
We can just buy you airplane tickets to San Francisco.
Yeah. But you know me, I'm gonna have to like polish the
know
whole
a few
thing
people.
and fucking make it nice and do all
Sure,
that.
that's great. And you will be on the right motorcycle to do that. There's nothing about this particular motorcycle that says you can't have fun on it. I'm gonna go ahead and just throw it up, just the way it left the factory.
All right.
So that's the way it left the factory,
if you've
or
seen
give or take.
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull and your face hasn't melted,
Right. There's absolutely.
It's got the right front tire. It's
This
not
is the bike
shitty
that
front
Shia
tire.
LaBeouf rides when he shows up at the train station. Well, pretends to ride.
Yeah.
So what are all the numbers now that I'm an official
Now that you're officially a
Harley
Harley
person? I have to tell people that is that the XLHCLR.
No. So this is a.
No,
Those are numbers. Those are letters.
Those are letters.
So this is a Softail Springer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's,
Mine like a steel trap
by the
over there.
way, all you have to say
You are
for
qualified.
the
to
rest
write.
of the time that you have it is
Yep.
one word:
Springer.
Springer.
That's what I thought.
Don't say anything else.
Right.
The more you say, the less credibility you have.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
What you have is a twin cam 88
Don't say that.
that's been fixed.
Right.
All right. That's had the SNS repair done to the fucking twin cam 88. But the reason we bring this up is not just because Steve has taken on this project and has decided voluntarily to walk down this very strange path. And this bike has had a shit ton of money thrown at it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
It's got things hanging off the side and things bolted to it and oil things and machinery and
somebody spent a shit ton of money on this motorcycle,
yeah.
and I bought it at the right time.
Yeah.
So
Right when he was going to prison.
right when he was trading it in for a Moto Guzzi.
Ah, even better.
So a
he just wanted his
fantastic
twin moved.
1, podcast listener. 2, wanted a Moto Guzzi California 1400.
There you go.
Good bike.
3, said, I got a bike, but I've listened to your podcast. You probably don't want it. And I said, yeah, probably. And he goes, I said, what is it? He goes, well, it's a Softail. And I said, well, you were right. And he goes, yeah, but it's a Springer. And I went, hold on. I fucking have never owned a Springer, and I have always been Springer curious. Please don't tell me it has a pizza cutter 21-inch front wheel on it. He goes, nope. And I go, you have pictures? And he goes, I have pictures. It's not the picture of the bike, but thing, but this is just to show podcast listeners
it's
what it
relevant.
started out as
Yeah.
or how it started. But yes.
I did notice that the one thing that no other motorcycle I've ever had and has is it has a weed pouch on the gas tank.
Yeah. Well, that's for your camels go there, but
Yes.
you're right.
It's for your box of
Do you know
Viagra.
Harley Bob?
It's for the Viagra.
Harley Bob. Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say Viagra, but
Okay, so now to bring it back to let's pay some fucking bills, okay?
Yeah.
Let's pay some bills.
Yep.
Corn poop cupcake,
hey, we've heard that before.
we have. Because they're a fucking Patreon member,
we go.
Tom. They're a Patreon member. So they're a Patreon member. So they get to do what? They get to talk to us. They get to ask questions of us. And we will answer it.
If they're here, they could get on the podcast if
Yeah.
they came.
Oh, Matt Davidson.
I got a question for corn poop cupcake.
You might have two after I read this email.
How'd you get that name?
It's okay. Game on.
We don't talk about what we did in Vegas.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes, a recipe calls for certain stuff. And so anyway, corn poop cupcake. Hey, dudes. Hope all is well. I'm happy to hear Grumpy Sewer Guy is doing better. I'm interested in getting a Harley, though I'm probably going to get one off the minefield that is Facebook Marketplace, or maybe Cycle Trader if possible. I'm not buying new. My question, are there years I should stay away from, and what should I look for when inspecting a bike? I don't really know what I'm looking for, and I know my coworker won't be able to come with me to every bike I might want to look at. I also wanted to tell you that having Brian from Skidmark was awesome. As a younger millennial who never had the chance to fail, being told that it's part of life and that it's to be expected was reassuring to me. Working on bikes and stuff like that always scared me because I was worried about failing. But now, knowing that I might fail while I work on anything really makes me feel better about it. I figure as long as I don't burn down a barn and have a firefighter battalion come to our rescue, I should probably good.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with that?
Any and all help would be appreciated. Thanks again for all the tips and content. It makes my long work trips and road trips a hell of a lot more bearable. So, first of all, we have a millennial listener.
Yay.
Very welcome.
Hey.
And thanks to us, he knows that it's okay to fail.
He probably joined us for Nick, and then Nick left now. And he's all bummed. He's like, fuck.
He joined us for Cam, and then Cam left. Right,
Nick.
exactly, right.
So if you're a millennial and you want to learn how to work on motorcycles, and well,
hey,
this is where you start.
But the point being, I like that his takeaway of having Brian here was that he never had a chance to fail. This listener, it has now we latched into something for him, and that is, you're gonna fucking fail at all kinds of shit.
Yep, that's one of the things.
Show us where the ClevelandMoto podcast touched you.
On the doll.
All over.
Show us on the doll.
Talking to Brian, that's one of the things that stuck out to me too, is that whole idea of letting people fail and learning from it.
Right.
Because so many things, I think a lot of, even after our generation, like whatever, before the new kids, like in between there, parents always, like, you weren't allowed to do anything wrong. Their kids had to be perfect. They couldn't, whatever like that. And I think the whole generation of people does not know how to fail. Yeah. And so him teaching that's a huge mental health reasons, everything, man. It's really a good thing.
So I sold the quad that was at your house to Bruce. But I later find out he really just scooped it up to give to this guy because he was going to sell whatever. But the guy has it, and he keeps coming back to Bruce. It only ran for 10 minutes, then it shut off, and blah, blah, blah. And it was $300.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what does the guy want? An unlimited lifetime warranty? It was a $300 quad that ran pretty good. And it was like I wasn't experiencing these problems. You can try this, that. Maybe it was probably fuel delivery. We had some problems with that when we first got it going. And then I told Bruce, I'm like, tell the fucking kids to fix it. It's it's perfect. They can learn. Tell them to tear the carb off. Do this, do that. Like, fucking figure it out. I don't know how. I would have done that. If I rode it for 10 minutes and it stopped running, I'd be like, let's get it going again.
Yeah,
or,
like, it worked.
It worked. Why did it stop? What do we got to do? Like,
Yeah, that's weird.
It is, great. But this idea of sometimes when you take $300 from somebody, you don't realize you're fucking adopting them, right?
Yeah.
And they're so scared.
Let's put a pin in this exact conversation because it brings up something you brought up earlier.
Okay.
But it derails from the conversation we're currently in.
Yeah. So here's why when he talks about he wants to buy a Harley Davidson, I'm going to tell you there's going to be no fucking shortage of people that are going to give him tons of goddamn advice about what Harley Davidson he should buy or what Harley Davidson he shouldn't buy.
don't buy the small motor.
Don't buy a Sportster. Don't buy a Sportster. Don't buy a Sportster. Tell you fucking right away. Buy a Sportster.
Oh, absolutely.
Buy the shit out of a Sportster.
That
Buy a Sportster for $3,500. You are going to be a very, very happy person. You are going to have a great goddamn time. Buying a Sportster is not expensive, especially if you're willing to get one that has a carburetor on it. Now, what carburetor is on every fucking Sportster?
Well, and more
the same carburetor that's on a fucking KLR 650.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and more,
don't be scared, people. It's a fucking carburetor. They made 93 million of.
And it's un. Yeah. It's one.
It's a single
one.
And when I was at Skidmark with Steve, it's like 2 bolts. There's no bullshit. It's like done.
It is one of the easiest. The CVK 40 carb
Yep.
is one of these carburetors that is just super fucking bone simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have had to pull them apart on the side of the road. There's nothing crazy about them.
Yep.
If the diaphragm doesn't rip, it'll last for fucking ever. So the Sportster is nothing to be feared, even with the
The
carburetor.
biggest complaint I have is it has the auto buy starter instead of the actual choke.
But that's a
But
Kimco.
it's
That's a Kimco
whatever.
thing anyway. So you're fine.
Whatever.
Yeah, you're fine.
And you cannot. Coming from me, who is not a Harley guy at all. Well, a little Harley curious. We're not going to. The 883 and the 1200.
You already went there.
We went there. Are cheap as chips. Mm-hmm. They will run forever. Mm-hmm. They're heavy as shit. Like, that's my biggest complaint, is that they're just too heavy. But you're never going to go wrong, and even if you blow it up, it's still worth $1,500. Bottomed out.
And if you want to take the time, you can make it cool like Phil's blue one.
Yeah. And that's the bike I'm kind of most curious about. That and the Stort's Kit XR 1200 are kind of the bikes that I'm a little bit curious about.
Tom just told us how heavy that Harley Sportster is.
Yeah.
He said the word heavy 14 times.
Yes.
Yep.
About the Harley Davidson 1200 Custom.
Yeah.
That bike is lighter than a Triumph Bonneville.
Really?
They don't feel it.
Yeah. It's lighter than a Triumph Bonneville.
What does it weigh?
It's 497 pounds.
Yeah, geez, my America's 550.
Okay?
my-
So that
I wonder how much
super
my
heavy
Triumph is.
motorcycle you're talking about with a 1200cc motor that's 300 bigger than that Triumph is not that heavy.
Well, every time I push one of those around, I'm like, man, I miss my Thruxton.
That's probably because the tires don't need air.
Well, there's a lot of things. But but the heaviest way you can dress out a Sportster is about 589 pounds.
Yeah.
My
So-
Super T was 650.
Well, okay, but the point being, they're not that heavy.
Yeah.
Now it's depressing. Their power to weight ratio or their power to CCs ratio is depressing because it's 1200 CCs but 58 horsepower.
It's a generator motor from 46.
That's sad, but it does have a decent amount of torque. You know, it feels great to ride them. They
got
ride.
character.
They feel really fun, and when you drive them, they get up and boogie. You know, but a 1200 CC Sportster, it's not that heavy of a bike.
But pushing those things, man, they feel so heavy.
That's a you thing, man.
I guess.
Right? I mean, I've grown up around in my entire
That's
goddamn
true.
life, and I can tell you, I have a Road King that weighs a legitimate 880 pounds.
You might need to start eating some gluten.
That's true.
The good thing about a 500
John,
pound
I
Sportster,
didn't end up smelling like you.
you
Yeah.
probably don't have to pick it up off the ground too much.
Probably not.
Like my 500 pound adventure bike,
Right.
I gotta pick it up almost every ride. You know,
That's why Harley just.
so if you don't run out of gas
Yeah.
and you don't let it fall over, you just ride it. So 500 pounds isn't really that. It's not a deal killer.
That Cafe Racer in my shop, that Sportster 1200 Cafe Racer. So that bike right now weighs just a hair over 500 pounds. Just a hair over 500 pounds. My Moto Guzzi V7 weighs 425. That's a 75 pound difference, but it's a 750 compared with a 1200. Right? So they're not that heavy.
No,
they're not that heavy. The when you get into some things like Road Kings, when you get into shit like
But you know
ultras,
what? But that
they're heavy.
But that weight is also what gives you the to go past a semi on the fucking freeway and not feel like you're gonna die.
That's a lot of people come into our shop that have traded in Harley Davidsons to us and have now are riding a bike that weighs 400 pounds, 350 pounds or whatever, and they're like, "That's the greatest thing about my Harley. It would just hold the road. Nothing blew you around. Nothing." Yes, okay. If we're judging goodness by the goodness of something by the amount of tonnage
By the
it
fact that
displaces.
triggers
No, but I mean, like,
stoplight.
but if 90% of what you're doing is fucking highway riding, like a lot
Exactly.
of these guys doing,
Yeah.
that is appreciated,
Right.
man.
Oh,
yeah, you know.
So I don't think that I don't feel like somebody who wants to go out and buy a Harley. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think everyone should try it. Now is my job to tell you the shit, the stuff you don't want to hear about.
Well, yeah, the assless chaps I just bought were fucking $290, man. That shit is expensive.
Hey, Sleepy.
I know all chaps are assless,
There
but I
you
made
go.
it. But these ones are special because it's extra cut out.
They have all the conchos.
Yeah. And they plug in, they're heated.
There are so heated assless chaps.
chaps. There's some market here.
There really is. I don't know why we haven't tapped into this earlier. So to get into there are these bikes out there. We talked about this in a previous podcast. There are shit tons of Sportsters out now for under $4,000. So you can get in. You can own a Harley Davidson for under
I
$4,000.
guess you'd say we're Sportster supporters.
Yeah, you know, it kind
That
of
makes us athletic Sportster supporters.
athletic
Yes,
Sportsters.
Yeah.
It kind of fits our modus operandi, though, to talk about the smallest,
The
of
cheaper bike,
Harleys.
right? The cheaper bike. But here's the other thing: if you want to, Dynas are out there, and Dynas are also cheap. Now, how you can tell a bike is a Dyna or a Super Glide, right? Is when you're going to look at the back of the motorcycle and see a couple of shock absorbers. So if you look at the back of the motorcycle and you see a couple of shock absorbers back there, okay, then you're looking at a Dyna. If you don't see shock absorbers, you're probably looking at what's called a soft tail.
If you're
the
in a
shock absorbers
kitchen-
are hidden underneath. What?
If you're in a kitchen, you might be looking at a Dyna. Someone's in the kitchen with Dyna.
Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow my? I mean,
The horn? Yeah, all right.
All right.
I mean, I was going to make a trailer park joke, but go for it.
Go for it. You're there. You're there anyway, right? The reason Dynas are cheap is because Harley Davidson discontinued the Dyna. And Harley Davidson even decided that they weren't going to be keeping it around anymore. And consequently, it took a dive, and so did the market for the bikes. The Dynas are good bikes. The Dynas are solid bikes. Keep in mind, most of the bikes you're going to be looking at, if somebody says to you the word 88 cubic inches or twin cam 88, you immediately should be very fucking careful, because there is the real world possibility that your motor could already be eating its own timing cam chain system. And you wouldn't fucking know about it, because loud pipes disguise problems.
Yep.
And loud pipes on most of these motors will make it so you cannot hear the timing cam chain problem, and you will not know you're having it until it goes catastrophic.
Yeah, but other traffic will see you. Those same loud pipes save lives.
They do
Gotcha.
save lives.
But Steve was showing me it's not
They
really
run
that,
naps.
again, because it's a Harley and it's fairly simple. Like he was showing me how much stuff you have to take off to do the thing. It's not even that big of a
not.
deal.
Oh, no.
And people will try to scare you. And this is why I want to make it a point. Our friend Steve Noble went from not being a Harley Davidson owner to teaching people about how to repair and maintain their Harley Davidsons
Yeah. Right.
in about 4 fucking years.
They're
Okay? They're not complicated machines. There's shit tons of documentation and books and training videos. And there's an entire website that for a very small fee gives you access to all the Harley Davidson training videos.
And for the people that like us, when I was
Right.
talking to Steve, because I went in an interview,
Yep.
whatever, and I was telling him about, I was thinking about getting a Harley. He's like, dude, he goes, as somebody that's worked on and rebuilt four-cylinder motorcycles,
Right.
he's like, you're going to get so mad at how simple and how easy it is to work
Oh,
on
yeah,
Harleys
absolutely.
that he's like, you're going to be like, I wasted my life building carburetors.
one of the things that always struck me as funny when I worked with the Harley shop is Harley's part number system. The ending of the part number will tell you what years of bikes it
the
covers.
range. Correct.
The year range.
Yeah.
And,
And
there's
some of them
like
go
a-
back to 1937.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at that. I'm like, there is no way that a part fit for 70 years. And everybody was like, no, it absolutely. They just didn't change it.
They didn't change it. And I can promise you that is probably one of the greatest things about that particular platform of motorcycle
Yeah.
is that Harley Davidson, I don't think they spent any time saying,
Or money.
can we make all the fasteners on this motorcycle lighter? Can we make all the hardware on this motorcycle lighter? I don't think they said that, because that wasn't any element. None of that meant anything to their target audience. The Softail Fat Boy is one of these machines where it is hard for you to lose money on that motorcycle. If you buy this motorcycle and you drive it around for 5 or 6 years, provided you don't buy it brand new,
Yeah.
right? Provided you're buying it for less than $10,000, this Softail Fat Boy is the Springer without the Springer front end. It's got the fake FLH Hydroglide style front end on it. That's what makes it a Fat Boy. Not all Fat Boys had solid disc wheels. They didn't. Many of them came with lace wheels. They look fantastic. It's a very cool looking bike, very historic, very neat piece of Americana. And the Softail system does work. It fucking functions. And for people who are a little bit shorter, for people that want a motorcycle that they can feel confident on. These are really, really easy motorcycles to ride. So you don't need to spend a ton of money. If you want to buy a Harley Davidson and you want to get it out of your system, if you don't know me, and I'm not going to just throw you one to fucking dick with, Sleepy. I love the fact that I pulled that bike out of the shop today. It has not fired a shot in anger in 2.5 years.
Yep. And it started.
And it's
No new battery. The battery that's in it has been on a battery tender for 2.5 fucking years.
And it's
The
literally
gas that's in it is the gas the guy drove into my shop on when he dropped it off, right? It took me 9 Duggas.
Yeah.
And it went, and it's just right there.
Do it again.
so Phil, more to the
Sounds
point.
like it needs a tune-up.
It actually did. Dugga.
It's only running on 2 cylinders.
I think it's missing a tooth.
I am.
So the big takeaway here is which motors to avoid.
So the Twin Cam 88 is to be avoided unless you're getting it cheap.
Or
Okay?
fixed.
Or fixed.
I would avoid anything called a soft tail fat boy.
Depends on which bar you're
That's
going
been
to.
my nickname since I was 14, man.
They were originally going to call this the Little Boy, but due to the Fat Man and Little Boy thing about the nuclear bombs that were dropped on, call this naming. They were going to have
Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
Harley Davidson was going to have a Fat Man and a Little Boy.
Oh, no.
They were.
yeah.
That was Harley Davidson had a marketing strategy. It was like we're gonna say some shit to the Japanese motorcycle manufacturers. Our next bike we're gonna produce is gonna be called the Fat Man, and there'll be a Little Boy.
Then they're going to
And
drop
people-
them on Japan.
Well, you know,
Well, yeah.
exactly. And then cooler heads prevailed.
Yeah.
Japan had the last laugh on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Bomb us again. We think we need to establish new financial market dominance. Yeah. So a Twin Cam 88 can be challenging. You know, again, Sportsters, all 83 Sportsters, all 1,200 Sportsters are generally money in the bank. Fuel injected, wow, even better. Good for you. Carbureted, nothing to be scared of. You're going to be fine. They're fine. The Twin Cam 88, yeah, it can be a challenge, but here's the thing. The 103, in my opinion, is, but we're getting into some money now because your 103 is going to be a 2013 or 2014, right? I think maybe in 2012. They're a little bit newer, so you're probably going to spend a little money on those. But a Twin Cam, the 103, as far as I can tell, is God's motor. It might have been Harley just got it right because the Milwaukee 8s that have been out in the past couple of years, they're having expensive problems.
Yeah, I just read about all that.
And the good news
Oil
is,
pump.
yeah, the good news is most of us aren't looking at those $20,000 Harley Davidsons used. You know, a bike that was $30,000 is now available at $20,000, but you're having these pretty expensive problems that'll leave you on the side of the road gefuckered. So I do caution people about that.
And people are having problems with the dealers doing anything. I just read an article where a guy had it in. He has a brand new. It has like 400 miles on it, and he's had it in 5 times. And now they told him that they can't do anything more. For
Correct. Yeah, correct.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a Harley guy. I don't know the Harley market whatsoever. I've never been drawn to Harley. But if you were going to buy a Harley, would you be more attracted to or less attracted to a bike that has alterations like Stage 3 kit, Screaming Eagle, whatever, you know?
They're not as destructive as many of the same kind of performance modifications can be in Japanese bikes. So if somebody says to me, hey, I got a Honda CB750, but it's got the 836 kit, John?
That's correct.
So if somebody says, I've got a 836 kit at my Honda CB750, I'm not actually super excited about that,
Milwaukee 8.
right?
Oh, fuck.
So
wow.
when somebody tells me they've got a kitted out Japanese motorcycle, many times I get very concerned about that because there's a lot of things that can be bad about performance modified motors. And not all the parts in that motor can handle the stresses of the modifications. Plus, there's also that element of that which Japanese engineers hath assembled, let no man disassemble.
I don't know numbers off my head,
Yep.
and I could be wrong about this, but maybe tolerances too.
Everything.
Like,
Yep.
I think I don't know what like the cylinder wall clearance and stuff, but I have a feeling Harleys are maybe a little
Harleys
looser.
are so ridiculously overbuilt that, for the most part, somebody having said, "Well, here's an SNS kit. Here's a Screaming Eagle kit. Here's a kit. Well, there aren't these Chinese aftermarket low-grade quality kits that are out there. That doesn't exist for Harley Davidsons right now. So
I mean, that's what the buddy at work said. Yeah, you buy Harleys, they're overbuilt and underpowered.
Right.
And that's why they accept, doing some performance modifications, they're just fine with it.
Yeah.
So you're saying
Right.
Don't shy away from it.
Don't shy away from it. If it's running correctly and it's running right, it's starting and idling and doing what it's supposed to do, they're really they're hard to fuck up. And the thing is, strangely enough, I've built enough Harley Davidson motors to tell you that if you buy an 883 and after a year of having your 883, you're like, I fucking underbought. I should have bought the 1200. That kit takes 3 hours. To go from your 883 to your 1200 is one of the easiest jobs in the world of the motorcycle industry. Changing an 883 to a 1200 is a accessories line item upgrade at the Harley dealership. Not at all uncommon to find dealers that have to get rid of 883s and tell you, you buy this 883 and I'll tell you what, in a year or 2 years when your warranty's done, bring it back in and we'll give you a 1200cc upgrade on that bike for $500. That's the way it was when I was working at the Harley dealership. Was a very good way to sell somebody into a Harley by saying, look, I know you think it's too small for you now, but in 2 years, if you need to, we can take this bike away from you for a day and make it into a 1200 and you'll be thrilled. So with this kind of thing, I think to me, the money for now is the twin cam, the 103. The 103 is the right number of years old. So it's like 13, 14 years old. They're getting to be very fucking affordable. And if you want to go way back in the Wayback Machine, the original Evo motors, the 80 cubic inch Evo motors that are from 1983, 84, 85, 86, 87, those are great fucking motors.
Oh, yeah.
We know people that have easily 60, 80, 90,000 miles on an original Evo 80 cubic inch motor. And I see these bikes selling for $2,000 or $3,000.
And the only thing you're ever going to need to do is the seal kits on these are cheap. They're cheap to work on. They're easy to work on.
God, they're cheap.
And, I mean, I hate... It's so you buy one big bag. Oh, gosh, there's oil in my driveway. You buy one bag full of parts, you're done.
Yeah. Buy a kitty litter for 2 weeks and then just fucking give it in and buy the motor rebuild kit and do the thing. Watch a couple of videos and do it. They're really, really simple. Getting into the bigger bikes, getting into the Road King and getting into the Ultras and all your giant touring bikes, please be aware that when you get into those true full-size FLH police bike frames, that's when you're getting to a really heavy motorcycle. That's when you're getting to a motorcycle that's built for law enforcement purposes and it's built to be hit by a car and not die. Yeah. It's built to be on the road for 16 or 18 hours a day and survive. But I think, going into it, corn poop cupcake, I think it's...
Set yourself a price, set yourself a number, go.
Yeah, and
Did
go
you
for
say corn poop cupcake?
That's what his name is, John. If you wouldn't have been sleeping, you wouldn't have missed it.
Were you asleep?
I was watching.
He was napping.
Oh,
he was napping.
They were having a fart contest again.
All right.
We're over here Instagramming.
Yeah, of course. By the way, Ryan Hegdahl. Thank you, Mr. Hegdahl. $20 a month member.
Whoa, all right.
They get the jokes.
They don't get you the jokes. It's a fucking legend level.
He can tell the
He means
jokes.
he gets the phone number and he can chime in on this shit, right?
He can
Absolutely.
send us jokes.
He can send us fucking jokes. Yes. KLR Facehead. I didn't make that up. That's real.
These are getting
These
great.
are our Patreon members.
Yay.
This is getting good.
They said Cinch and Meckelfresh, their fire engine sounds really make podcast 457 feel like a crackle cast. I think they're talking about your butt.
no,
Your fire engine sounds?
Well, that's what
Oh,
they're
were you guys?
trying
I think he was talking.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. I was out.
Yeah,
for that.
no.
about burning the barn down or something?
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, you're right. Because think about it. When we used to be in front of the place, there'd always be like
Always.
just
Always. Once every 20 minutes, some sort of siren going by the shop.
I do miss the drunk guys falling over on bicycles, though. We're gonna have to pull one.
We can
out.
reorganize
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to fight you.
Patreon member. Got a question? I don't know. Well, you tell me. Kevin Chudy. That's his real name. I'm not making that up.
Okay.
Phil or anyone with insight. A big fan of the motorcycle podcast. Sadly, I'm a couple months behind, but I'm trying to catch up. I'm deployed for work. A bunch of alcoholics wait No, not quitters. No, drunks. You're drunks. You're all drunks. A bunch of middle-aged biker scooter aficionados with a penchant for a good drink and fun living. More accurate. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Anyway, quick question after imbibing a large amount of red wine. I am looking at a local sale of a 2013 Genuine Blur 220i for about $300.
Yeah, do it.
Is this a bad idea, or is it okay to tool around with and ride it for a bit? Or is it really a bad idea? A quick drunken internet look to look like a pretty okay scoot. Parts seem available. Going to look at it after work today. All right, here's the thing. Yeah, it's a great fucking bike. It's a PGO G-Max is what it is in its home market. It's a 220cc fuel-injected scooter from PGO. It is virtually fucking unkillable. Genuine still has parts support for it. It'll go hand to God 75 miles an hour.
And $300. Buy anything
Yeah,
for
yeah,
$300.
right. If it'll run and ride, yeah.
I can't tell you to not buy this. I
I had a problem with the 220i a while ago where I could not get it. The computer was fried, and the customer didn't want to buy it. That's literally the only problem I've ever seen with one.
Yeah, electronic control unit.
Yeah.
Was gone.
Yeah,
You
and they
can't
did
help
not
that.
No.
All right,
So that's
buy a
the
new one.
only thing I'd say.
Yeah, buy a new one. Swappable part. The dude who rode a Blur 220i, I think statute of limitations out on this one's. He rode in the Scooter Cannonball, rode across America, and he was riding on his Genuine Blur 220i. Pretty ballsy thing to do, ride that particular bike across America. And he did great all the way from California to about eastern Indiana. And the bike fucking just started having problems. Big fucking problems. And so he said it wouldn't go over 30, 35 miles an hour, smoking like a son of a bitch. And I'm like, I think maybe he dropped a valve. It had all the symptoms of a motorcycle that dropped a valve. Low compression, really hard to start, but it would get started. Going real slow, right? And smoky, right? So I was like, oh, dropped a valve. Had to be. But all these guys hit my shop, like they're leaving in 12 hours. They have one shop at their disposal for like 12 hours, and they're going to be back on the road again. So everybody's trying to fix all their problems. We changed 24 fucking tires that day, okay? And rebuilt umpteen carburetors. And like, it's a busy day.
Sure.
Putting belts on bikes and the whole deal. And there were about 25 guys competing that year.
But these guys are also not doing 15 miles a day and just casually riding.
No, you're doing a Scooter Cannonball. You're doing an average of between 300 and 500 miles per day.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, it's challenging for any.
It's challenging for any vehicle in the world, let alone a motor scooter.
Yeah.
So he brings in and he makes the decision. I'm going to complete the goddamn thing. I'm not in the race to win it. I'm not going to be first or second or third place. I just want to complete the son of a bitch. So he was sponsored by Genuine Scooter Company. He was a sponsored rider because that was the year that the Blur 220i was introduced. And I went, hold on a second. You don't own that bike. And he goes, no, I don't own that bike. I said, I believe that bike's covered under a warranty. He goes, I don't own the bike. I'm the guy who's volunteering to help. I'm the pilot. Genuine owns that bike. And I went, well, I'm a Genuine dealer. So we moved all of his touring shit over onto a brand new one off my showroom floor. Once I called the owner of the company, made sure it was okay to do that.
Yeah, right.
And I'd be getting a brand new one in the mail right quick in a hurry. I don't care.
Right.
Let's get this guy moving. I've already torn apart everything on the bike, and I can't find out what's wrong with it.
Yeah, and plus it's less to fix, right?
Well, let's not look, I got other problems right now.
Right.
If I can slap this guy's luggage onto a different bike, send him on his fucking way.
Off he fucks.
Right the fuck off he does, right? You could just go all the way down the road and fuck right off. And he did. And so he goes all the way down the road and fucks right off. And I did. And I told the guy, here you go, courtesy of ClevelandMoto, get the fuck out of here. So the guys at Genuine Scooter Company, being consummate professionals like they are, said, we're going to mail you a brand new, we're going to send you another bike for the one you offset. Not going to change your inventory at all. But do us a favor, when the new one gets there, don't fuck the crate up. Put this one in the crate and send it back to us. Because we want to figure out what went wrong with it.
Yeah, it's good research and development.
Very good research and development. And after a bike did about 2,000 miles, fast, in a hurry, they can see what's going on with it. Why did it fuck up?
No break-in.
They didn't get a break-in. They literally went out of the crate.
Well, it broke in after 500 miles.
Right. But we did the Lake Erie Loop on a Buddy 125 that had 1 mile on it, and I never dropped below 60 miles an hour. No break-in, right? That's it. That bike got broken in on the loop, right? Behind a UPS truck. But that fucking bike So I was just furious. I'm like, I got to figure out what's going on with this thing because I sell these. I need to know what fucked this bike up. So I was out there, and man, I'm cranking the starter. And after about 9 cranks, it would go. I'm going to go now. You'd get on the seat, go try. No power. Wouldn't go. Didn't want to go. Fucking weird, man. Just fucking weird. I opened up the gas tank, and the gas tank on those was between your feet because they had like a fakey gas tank.
Yep.
And I opened up the gas tank, and I'm shaking it around, and I spilled some gas out. And the smell of diesel hit my nose.
Oh no!
The dude put diesel in his bike in Indiana.
Oh shit!
I'm shocked it ran at all.
Oh wow!
There must have still been some gasoline enough to just.
It had to be a 50-50 cut or something.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
But do you know what the octane has to be on diesel cut half with Mogas? It's got to be nothing.
Yeah. Plus.
Yeah, 5. We measure it with cetane now. We're no longer measuring it with octane. But I was shocked. I was like, I got the fucking problem figured out. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't put it in the crate and ship it the fuck back because
You get it out of here.
Well, and
fuck
you know,
outta here,
and you know-
right?
and you know what makes sense is that
right.
the scooters, with the way they come out, it doesn't have. It's not.
no,
like,
it doesn't have the little restrictor plate in it.
Yeah. So you wouldn't know if you're.
Did you grab a diesel schnozzle?
Yeah. You're no fucking clue.
It looks like a donkey's dick. Like that
Well,
is
especially some of them are
very
confusing.
odd.
I almost did
Yeah.
it the other day for work. I was driving to Detroit,
Yeah.
and I stopped, and they had one of the pumps that has them all together, and they didn't even have it on the other side of the pump. It was
No.
just in the thing.
right in the stack.
Yeah, so I just
right in
grabbed
the
the one
stack.
and fucking hit it, and I'm like, oh, it won't go in the hole. I was like, oh, that's a good
man.
thing. I have fucking diesel over here.
I promise you that in the amount of time that I was trying like fuck to troubleshoot this bike, not for 1 second did I think it has diesel in it.
Right. Because you're dealing with a professional pilot that has a sponsored bike. You think the dude might like.
But imagine how tired he was after being awake for 36 hours, you
that's
know?
true, too.
Right.
Yeah,
So
He was rolling coal.
he was rolling fucking coal. So thought that was pretty fun. I think this guy might be fucking with Johnny Mac. No. We got a Patreon member who just signed up at the $5 a month lever, whose name is J Mac Fleikenstep. J Mac Fleikenstep.
if that's not a fake name, then this is my hero.
I completely agree. Josh, Patreon member, Josh says, I listened to the rest of the episode. Moto Go is very cool.
yeah.
I'm 41 years old and I've never had any kind of shop class available. The little bit that I can work on bikes and cars is due to reading manuals and watching videos. I took the college prep classes and went to college, but I do not work in that field. It's extra nice that they do the diversion program for the felons and stuff, and that seems to be more positive than any traditional method I've ever heard of for getting people out of jail and that stuff. That's fucking great, man.
And you
So
know
that's
what?
cool.
And it's weird. Like when you talk to Brian,
Yeah.
what's really cool, even more so than like when he was talking here, is that dude is seriously dedicated to helping people.
He really
Like,
is.
I don't, like there's no monetary motivation. I mean, like the dude understands he has to live and stuff, but his motivation daily to get up and do the work that he's doing is because he loves to help people.
Fuck yeah.
It's really cool.
Absolutely. And that's genuine. When you talk to him, you deal with him. Because of our podcast, they sold out the MotoGo event. I'm saying that officially. As a direct result of our promotion, that 11th hour, 1 week left to buy a ticket. They like a week before the event, they sold the fuck out. That was it. And that can only be the Cleveland Moto bump.
Yep.
Sure.
That's it. That's all that can be.
I'm absolutely sure of that.
I'm certain
So
of
if
that.
you're looking for a bump, we are available.
We are looking. If you need your product to be bumped, I get fucking. Believe me, guy, I get so many people that are like, hey, will you talk about our thing on your podcast? I got 3 this week, and I'm like, nope, definitely nope, absolutely fucking nope. And Buzzsprout and all the different podcast hosting companies and stuff, they're now saying, have this guy, this influencer on your podcast for only $1,000.
Yeah.
Fuck that. No way, man.
Now I have a goal. Pay me $1,000.
Although I'd pay that guy to be on our podcast.
No
fuck you, no way, guy. No way.
No fucking way. No fucking way. All right. So, on that, this is not a sponsor.
How much for Aaron Rodgers?
All right.
He's not prepared for that kind of abuse.
So, Dan, would you like to read that?
My other car is a broke down motorcycle.
All right.
www.twowheelsanddeals.com.
Can anyone read this?
Only one.
Small C.
Small CC equals big PP.
Small CC, big PP. Small CC equals big PP.
I like that.
You like that?
Oh, Lord.
All right. So
That's good stuff.
We have swag.
we have a letter and swag. And swag.
Wait, that reminds me. I'll tell you a joke about my dick. It's really short.
Don't worry, it's short. Okay. If somebody would, what's the name of the podcast again?
Which one?
The fucking thing I just gave you.
Oh, motorcycles and art.
Oh, no. We're the other one. Sorry.
The one about his PP?
Small CC, big PP.
Right.
Two Wheels. Twowheelsanddeals.com.
Ah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
The pin that I put in earlier?
Yeah.
Now, this is the pin that I put in earlier since we
Okay.
were talking about cheap motorcycle deals.
Cheap motorcycle
And how
deals.
you have to own a $300 ATV once you sell it.
So you guys know on the podcast, I have talked about how the fuck do people sell shit. And this particular month has been really, really tough for me because Facebook Marketplace has not been kind.
Oh, it's
Facebook
terrible.
Marketplace has gotten dumber. I didn't think it was possible, but it got dumber. And it turns out it did get worse. It got way fucking worse. So it's very, very good timing that Two Wheels and Deals exists because I fucking need it, man. I need it. I got to have a way to filter out the fucking dipshits. There are so many dipshits. And even putting something as obvious as the VT1100 Shadow that you can ride and it runs great and it starts instantly and it's all done and it's gone through. And I put it up for $2,000 and I've had $500. $500, $500, $500, $500. I've also had $3,700. Is this still available? Even though in my listing it specifically says we will not answer it if you say this is available. The shop address is this. The phone number is this. Here's the listing, and here's a video of me going over to it, starting it cold, and it running.
Right.
So I can't make it any more fucking. I cannot fucking gift wrap that shit for you.
The very bad
any
photo
fucking more.
of the Sebring convertible was probably my favorite.
Yes. Yeah. The guy sent me 1/10 of a Chrysler Sebring convertible picture, just the right rear tail light, and enough to know they had a brown, black cloth top.
Right.
But he says, "Will you trade this? Will you take this in trade?" And he sent me a picture of just 1/10 of the car. So Tom and I had to play like the look at the picture and determine what the car it was from this little tiny picture. And yeah, we're going to deep forensic shit. Tom's back there like downloading pictures.
I'm a car guy, and I couldn't figure this thing out.
It turns out it wasn't a Toyota Solara, which I would have traded for.
I thought it was a Solara.
I will not trade for a 186,000 mile Chrysler product of any sort. Okay. Why this is important? Yes. Well, one, it's fucking free. Okay. Dear Phil, you're an extremely driven man, and I know your time is extremely valuable. That being said, I do not. I do not here to ask a favor from you, nor sell you anything. All right. I listen to your podcast regularly. It's fantastic. Clearly not a listener. It has the perfect mix of characters, and the topics are very relatable. One topic that you all constantly touch on is how shitty Facebook, eBay, and Craigslist have become. Yes. I think we all feel this. Now we know it's not a form letter. Right. That and it's handwritten in cursive.
I was going to say that looks like the Declaration of Independence.
It does. Last year I caught myself bitching about these platforms. I told myself, I told myself to quit bitching and create the solution. I decided to create a better motorcycle marketplace. One central location to buy, sell, and advertise motorcycles and parts. I sold off half of my motorcycles to fund it, and I taught myself how to code. 7 months later, Two Wheels and Deals was launched. It is absolutely free to use with no seller fees. No, is this still available? Items are displayed across the country, not just locally, along with instant playing videos. That's true. They do accommodate videos. I put one in today. I think you will agree that no one wants to create new accounts or remember another fucking password, so I designed it so you don't have to. You can advertise motorcycles, parts, make want ads, and even advertise your motorcycle-related businesses or events all for free. Like I said, I just wanted something better for the motorcycle world. Seeing that I do not have to pay a development team, I can offer it for free. I do hope that you and your friends find it to be a solution to your problem. Please keep up your hard work, as many younger people are also looking up to you. Enjoy the stickers. Casey Anderson. www.twowheelsanddeals.com. Email contact us at twowheelsanddeals.com. Now, talk about putting your money where your fucking mouth is. This is a website that exists now because he had a problem and he wanted to solve it. Today, I listed 2 motorcycles on this forum. It took me less than 5 minutes per motorcycle. It's probably the easiest I've ever listed any motorcycle on any motorcycle for sale forum fucking ever.
I got a bunch. I'll be trying.
I want this guy to survive. I want this guy to succeed because he is straight up, he has built a better mousetrap. This is how bringatrailer.com got started. And we know where they are, right?
What's hanging off the side of
That's
that?
a supercharger.
That's a supercharger.
Yeah, good for him.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is a supercharger. That is a CB750, 1971, right? I also like the way he does his descriptions. The classification of your bike, they want to know what's its condition. And that is it runs the way it's runs like new, or runs the way it's supposed to. It's none of this bullshit like it's in excellent condition or good condition or fair condition or whatever.
Redmond parked.
It literally has to say, he gives you some options, okay? Honda CB750. I got to make sure this is on the bottom screen so the guys at home can see, or guys in the listening audience can see it, because it is such a shit show. The supercharged Honda CB750. Sleepy, there's your Springer. Anyway, no, I didn't list it. I didn't. I listed some other shit. But we're going to go ahead. I'm going to find this supercharged one because the people at home need to listen to this fucking thing because it's a travesty.
Do you have a video?
I probably.
I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear the little.
Well, I put a video up of the 2 bikes I put on there today, right? Nice. So I popped videos up. Okay, here we go. So this is for the people on the download. People on the download can see this bad motherfucker. All right. So now the people at home can see the people of the purple supercharger. I bought this on a whim at auction without knowing anything about its history or condition. I've since gotten it running and riding, but it still needs some work to be a rider. I've also learned a fair amount about its history, and I'll share everything that I know with seriously interested buyers. It's super cool, and I'd love to keep it, but I'm just not the right caretaker for this cool piece of motorcycle history. I got in touch with the previous owner who built this over several years in the 90s and early 2000s. He sold it in 2012, but gave me as much info as he could recall. It had gone through several iterations over the years, so he was a little fuzzy on some of the details. He was using it as a daily rider and a track toy until he sold it in 2012, after which it became a display piece. It does come with a USB drive with various tuning details, etc. It's supercharged, fuel injected, has RC cylinders that the previous owner said were 99% sure are 1,000 cc. It does run on pump gas and has everything needed to be street legal. It has tons of homemade parts that I'll describe as interesting. I got it running and riding, but it for sure needs a battery, regulator, rectifier, and a front brake rebuild. Yeah, no shit. Other than that, everything seems to work as intended. But I've only ridden it around the block. It's showing some patina in the form of flaking chrome, some oxidation and light rust. The paint is in pretty good shape. It comes with a clean Massachusetts title, which does state an odometer discrepancy. No shit. I'd consider trades for a chopper bobber or clean vintage bikes. Happy to work with shippers and electronic payments. This is a fucking quarter-mile bike that is definitely an extensively breathed upon CB750 with a big fuck off supercharger on the side of it.
Yeah.
And it's got the fuel injection conversion, which I have seen on other bikes before. This is probably what this is. And it does have the RC branded cylinders. So if you take a look, that's not bullshit. That's not just, it's got 1,000 cc motor in it. No, that's a product that exists, you know? So yeah, somebody put a lot of time and effort into this, and
the sad part is like any modern 600cc bike would
probably just flog the living shit out of it. Yep, absolutely. We do have a video. So
I hear it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else can hear it, but yeah, it sounds angry as fuck.
Yeah, it sounds like it's nasty.
That sounds very, very angry. Okay.
Did it have an exhaust pipe or just a port?
It had that real shorty Kirker on it.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the kind of shit that's on here. There's some really fun and interesting bikes on here. So twowheelsanddeals.com. No shit. Check it out.
I'm going to put 4 or 5 bikes on there in the next couple of weeks.
So currently, I do like this about his thing is it does keep a tally of the dollar value of bikes that are listed on the site at the moment, which I think is fucking hilarious. Their current dollar value of bikes is $366,000. So if you have $366,000, you can clean them out.
Yeah.
You can buy out his whole site.
If that was Meekum, it would be 6 bikes.
Oh, gee, yeah, and the stickers would be on backwards.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's like 4 Vietnamese Vespas at Meekum.
I would like to see this become popular. I would like to see this to become a thing because this to me smacks of what Walnex and
Well, this is FUBU.
Trading Times used to be.
For us, by us.
For us, by us.
For
exactly.
motorcyclists,
Right.
by
It is,
motorcyclists.
Yeah, so I hope this does well because I mean I've got some shit listed up there. So and I'm gone through today. I spent at least 10 minutes kind of looking through some of the different bikes that were available. There's some cool shit.
So when you go to contact somebody about one of these and you say, "Is it available?" Did it just tell you to fuck off?
It does not have that option.
Okay,
It does not have that option.
but that would be a cool option. Is it just automatically said "fuck off"? I said not to do that.
Yeah, exactly. and that is true. I'm pretty cool with it.
So I witnessed something happen to me. So since we're talking about how shitty Marketplace is,
yeah.
So I was selling some camera gear, and one of the things I had no job, and I know you can vouch this, probably an add to it 1,000 times, but I had about 500 fucking messages for this fucking camera, right? And 497 of them were, "Is it available?" And so I was sitting there, and I hit some of the people back, and they're like, "Well, I didn't even send a message. What the hell?"
Yeah.
So
no
I
shit.
was looking at some guitars, and I left my window open, and I went to the bathroom, and I came back, and I noticed that
that it sent a message.
it sent.
That's what John was saying.
Is this available?
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think if you leave the window open, or if you're looking at it for a few minutes,
Okay.
it automatically Marketplace automatically sends the seller, "Is this available?"
because Sleepy, you clearly showed an interest.
But
you
they're
hovered
making-
over it
but-
for at least a
But
minute.
they're killing their own ability.
Yeah.
They're killing their own traffic because nobody's going to put shit on there if you have to deal with 500 "Is it availables" every fucking
I
day.
completely agree. Absolutely.
So I'm all about this new thing. I'm excited.
Oh yeah. So, you guys, you ever heard of that big BMW motorcycle? It's got about 1,800 fucking cc's.
The one that was cool, but then it wasn't.
Yep, that particular bike.
R18 or whatever.
Do you remember that bike?
Yep.
Vaguely, yeah.
Well, turns out you can buy a crashed one. And if you buy the crashed one, you have a big old fucking gigantic motor.
A 1.8 liter motor.
And guess what it fits in?
Everything.
Looks like an F1 cab.
How about a Mini Cooper?
Oh, yeah, that would be fun.
That would be really
Wouldn't
fun.
that be fun?
But
What's the British car with the Harley motor up front?
That's a Morgan.
Morgan. That would be really good for that. too.
it later
It would be because it has that aviation look to it.
Well,
Yeah.
it later used the Gucci motor.
That's right.
Yeah,
well,
that-
Morgans have had
Yeah.
many motors over the years, and they weren't always V twins, but V twins seems to complete the Morgan.
Yeah.
yeah.
That looks good.
But yeah, there's been Gucci's, there's been Harleys, there's been SNS. all
Is this
kinds of
front wheel
motors.
drive though? Still?
It doesn't look like it to me.
Because that's the big trick. Is the R18 motor is going to be output shaft towards the rear.
Yeah, making it all that much easier to make it into a little tiny car motor. I just like this. I think this is cool. And I think it looks good. I would never put a hood on that car. I would leave that car looking exactly like it looks.
Can you make that picture better?
I will try. I do not know if I...
You got to keep air going across that motor, though.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
yes, you do.
Because there was a 24 Hours of Lemons. Somebody had a Fiat 500 that had a Guzzi 1000 motor in it, and the biggest problem they had was getting airflow over the cylinders.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right, I'm going to make that picture bigger for you, John. That's
There you
as
go.
big as I can make it.
Wow.
Good.
What's funny is that car is so small it makes the motor look huge.
Yeah, you're right.
You got to keep in mind.
She sure does.
Oh, but that's a good looking motor for a car.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
That's what I thought. I thought that was like, that looks
Well,
fucking cool.
Isn't the original one of these like a 660 or 700 motor? Like in the Mini itself, like a 600, 700 cc?
I've had
Yeah.
my smallest, my Innocenti Mini was an 850.
Yeah.
And then I had the 1100.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they came up
So just
the
barely
ranks, yeah.
1 liter, and you're putting almost doubling the liters.
Well, and this is a motorcycle that has all the delicious torque.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're talking about a motor that I'm going to guesstimate is 150 pounds-feet of torque.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a car that weighs about 890 pounds.
Yep.
It's probably pretty cool.
But not only that, but the engine case and everything just really lends itself to some kind of futuristic retro.
I think it
like-
would look cool on a very skinny, like a lowboy roadster.
Oh yeah.
Like a very V-shaped car.
Yeah.
Where you just had that as the whole nose.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and just the
like
little
like a
the
Lotus
grill
7.
in front of the thing and leave the cylinders sticking out on it. Oh yeah, that'd
Would
be
that look cool?
You put that in a Lotus 7, that's going to look hot.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
like
Well,
one of
yeah.
those, Dodge Prowler looking,
Yeah,
fat at the back,
yeah.
narrow at the front.
With the-
one of those.
Ariel Atom.
big old air hogs hanging out.
Well,
the sides.
but there were all these midget mini, race cars
Oh, yeah,
of the
yeah.
era.
Yeah.
That would look cool hanging on the front of one of those too.
Ooh, now I want to build a Salt Lake racer or, with the drop tank.
Drop tank
bomber.
racer,
Yeah.
drop tank racer. That's just cool. I think that's just really cool. I think that's a
Really cool.
great use for a BMW
my spare
1800 motor.
And
right?
since it has that output shaft on it, you don't even there's no fuckery. It's just hook something up.
Cool.
Just straight to a rear end.
Right.
Yep.
I'm certain that you could find a rear diff that works for that.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's really cool. I hats off to that because that's one of our podcast listeners sent that shit in.
Excellent.
And that's Darren Bemrose. Thought we might be interested in that as being the best place for an 1800 boxer engine. I'm like, yeah,
now does
pretty good,
BMW
yeah.
do they have a dual clutch thing at all or no? Or is it all just still manual?
I think that's still.
all manual.
yeah.
Pete, you were the.
They
you
do
put-
not have a dual clutch on
Yeah,
that.
I think
but
it's still-
it does have a reverse on it.
Oh,
It does. Is it an electric starter backwards upper?
Yes,
Okay.
it is actually.
So it's basically the same as the K1200.
But that's good though
reverse,
because
yeah.
in that application that works great.
Perfect.
You don't have to put a
Absolutely.
flippy dippy in the gearbox.
and that car probably weighs the exact same amount as the actual
Probably
bike.
close.
Are those like K&N filters at the top?
Those are
Something
K&N
red?
filters.
Yeah.
Yeah, which means they're not using the factory airbox. Yeah.
Well, no.
No, that means they've stuffed on some giant fucking Delordos or something on there. Or some.
Not necessarily.
Those look like side drafts. So
Are the throttle? I can't see.
I'm sure
close
they're
enough.
probably using same
the factory fuel
The
injection.
throttle bodies are down at the intake. So.
Sure. Yeah. The throttle bodies are right in the middle. Yep. I've seen no shortage of people
I've seen the R18.
unfuel injector motorcycles lately.
Really?
Yes. Oh, believe me.
Everything old is new again.
Thank you. De-evolution is alive and fucking well. I have seen no shortage of people taking off fuel injector systems and putting on.
It's these millennials that have never failed. They were like, I want my chance to fail. I want to have a run at carburetors.
Put a code filter.
I used to joke that like hipsters would try to do anything the wrong way, like to just do something wrong to be weird and to be different. Like if they
They're
could
like-
eat with their asshole, they would.
I've been cleaning carbs
Are you
before it
talking
was
about
cool.
Are you talking about butt chugging?
But
My dad and my grandpa are like really hip on fuel injection.
Yes.
And I refuse to.
I
embrace
refuse.
it.
Yeah, no, right. The real old school way is to be on the side of the road, not running.
The guy, their whole reason that they grow the big squirrely mustaches is if you wax them enough and you get stuck on the side of the road, you can take the tip of the mustache and clean your jets out. Sure.
Yeah, that is a legit thing where people are going in the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
And look, I do get it that in certain racing applications, yeah, there's a good place for a carburetor.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, absolutely. If you don't care how much gas you're using,
Right.
and you just want to throw gas at the problem, and you want to change the amount of gas you're throwing at the problem real fucking fast, I guess so. I guess there's a place for that.
I mean, carburetors do work. They've worked for years. They're great, but like just unfortunately, if you're not using whatever the thing is every single day
Right.
all the time,
Oh yeah,
it sucks.
yeah. 1987 to 1996 Ford F-150 EFI to carburetor conversion. There's a fucking kit you can buy for that.
Huh.
Your company might even sell it.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's probably
Look
true.
back to the 70s when Volkswagen buses had rudimentary fuel
That
injection.
fuel injection that was
Then
on my
people would
bus.
Take that shit out and put carburetors on it.
Every Italian car built from
1600 did.
1967 to 1983. What's the one thing you need to take out of there? Fuel injection.
Except if it was Bosch. My Alfa Romeo's fuel injection was the only thing good on the whole fucking car.
What's the little sign say on that car? Buy my what is it? Something car?
Buy my car.
Buy my car, spelled wrong.
And the word buy is spelled B-Y.
BY. Right.
I thought it
Very
was
nice.
Well, I thought it was like some kind of social media thing, so we could follow this build
Yeah,
or
no
whatever.
kidding.
Who knows?
Like where's the info? Where's the Instagram on the
I don't know. That wasn't the point of it all.
Ah.
Yeah, that wasn't the point of it all.
That-
But long and short is I went to buy my car, and it's just a fucking car dealership out of Europe. So yeah, does not apply. We don't care. Yeah, does not apply. Completely not something we're worried about. But anyway, yeah, they were nice enough to send me a shit ton of stickers.
They are.
And that's badass. And Casey's got some real shit going on. So I think that's fucking cool. I
We'll give it a
appreciate that.
shot. We'll give it a shot.
Oh yeah, well I've already got 2 bikes up there.
Nice.
So I'm a decent pile of that. And the bikes I have listed, I have a $2,000 bike up there, and I have a $24,000 bike up there. So we're gonna hit them on both sides.
Yeah, see what happens.
We're gonna bracket this thing in, and by the time I get done, I'll put up 5 or 6 bikes on there.
Yeah.
And we'll figure out where the sweet spot is.
That's why I'm going to sprinkle in some 70s bikes, a couple of 80s bikes.
Yeah,
We're going to
right.
see how that works.
Well, and the other thing too is once you
2,000
get that listing up, this is my thing too is once you get a listing up, you just copy that thing, copy that into all your social medias, copy that into your Instagrams, copy that into your Facebook, right? Because nothing takes the wind out of the fucking sales of the Facebook Marketplace punters like going to a site like this where they can't hit, is this available?
Dude, you should.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm going to do that. I'm
just
going
put
on
an
Facebook.
ad.
Yes.
Put an ad. If you'd like to view
Oh,
this, here
believe
you
me.
go.
Oh, that is step 1, day 1 tomorrow. I'm taking these listings and I'm putting them into my Facebook Marketplace listings.
Yes.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
more. Here's what I would do. Use one of your additional supportive accounts.
Yes.
And that way you don't even have to look at all the
Oh,
people
no, just
still
take- yeah.
sending you all the is it available messages.
Absolutely.
Go fuck your hat. I gave you the link.
Fucking love it. I just love it so much.
Yeah,
it
that's a
makes
good-
me happy
Now
to just
that-
know there's an alternative. Yeah, it really does.
And driving traffic away from fuckbook is just a great thing.
It's
too.
well, as a dealership, we got notified today that Mark Zuckerberg has decided to get into the Cycle Trader, the Trader Online game. So because I have a personal Facebook account for Phil Waters, the human being, and then I have a Facebook account for ClevelandMoto Podcast, where if I am on my ClevelandMoto Podcast page, because we're listed as a
Business.
no, as a podcast.
Oh yeah.
Podcast.
Oh right. Okay.
But podcast falls under the category of business in Zuckerberg land. So if I want to go look at Facebook Marketplace, I can't.
Really?
Right.
Huh.
I can't. So when I post something up that's a link to a Facebook Marketplace thing or something like that, and I'm on my Cleveland Moto podcast page, I can't look at that link.
Well-
because they want me to be a marketing paid member.
Yeah.
So,
Would you like to boost this post?
not just would you like to boost this post, we're going to list your inventory for you. We're going to go and crawl on your internet website, my shop website, and say, I got 160 bikes on there, and they're going to put those on Facebook for me. Well, that's nice of them.
Yeah.
For only $113 per bike per month.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, well, I haven't done real good math lately, but again, one of you guys is good with math. What's 160 times $116?
A lot.
Anyone got the? I think it's over 10 grand.
It's all of your margin that you could potentially make on those.
on those bikes, right? Yeah. And Facebook's going to do me a favor.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Because that's
Hey,
it.
Phil,
Yeah.
It seems like you're in business over there.
Do you know what deal turned
like
bad
the-
real quick? I invite anybody who's listening at home to go to Cycle Trader and try to find a bike you want to buy. And you will know immediately how the sponsorship, paid ad, whatever, has ruined that site. And now they're going to do the exact same thing to Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, I remember I went to Cycle Trader and I was typing in Harleys a couple months ago. And I was like, blah, blah, Harley. It was like, have you seen this Honda? This Honda's great. And then, have you seen this dealer? This dealer sells Harleys, but it also has this bike for sale. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's ridiculous.
Our local Johnny K's, right? Our superstore, our superstore, they own Cycle Trader.
Yeah.
They're
I
paying
can't-
so much money to Cycle Trader right now. If you type in 1961 Cushman, you will see, I promise you, 0 Cushmans will return on Cycle Trader.
Right.
0.
Right.
But you will get 300 hits, leading you to believe that if you just keep scrolling, you'll eventually find the Cushman, but you won't. There's none. But they're going to show you 397 sponsored ads from, that guy and all the other scumbags.
But I mean, I guess what they're thinking is that like if you like a Cushman, I mean, you're probably gonna like a CBR 300.
Right. Absolutely. They're comparable. Right. No, but what they're thinking is that guy's company, that guy's marketing department now says, well, this ad was viewed by 973,000 people.
Right? Because
972,999 of them didn't want to see the ad.
No, they were all mad.
They were all angry about it.
Now they're not going to shop ever at Johnny Cage.
Oh, I can
'cause they're
promise
pissed.
you, I'm only going in there to shoplift. From this point on.
Is this still for sale?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, can't do that on Cycle Trader. But it is true that sort of thing where people are like, oh, well, we got a marketing budget to spend.
We should
Yeah.
if you if the listeners want to help us piss somebody off, you should go to Cycle Trader, and when you go to type in, say you're looking for a 73 CB350.
Right.
And it comes up with Johnny Cage whatever.
Yeah.
You should just start sending emails to Johnny Cage. Hey, I saw that CB350 listed on the fucking thing. Just inundate them constantly with wrong bikes.
Sleepy, I get 4 credit applications a week that come in off my website for bikes I do not have for sale and bikes I've never owned or sold. Because the general public is that stupid.
Oh yeah.
They see a apply for credit button on my website for like, a Zero or a Vespa or something like that. And they click it and it says, what bike are you interested in? They actually fill that out with like, I'm interested in a 1923 Henderson Excelsior or whatever, right? And that goes in, but they fill it all out, Sleepy. They put their fucking Social Security number in.
Yeah, right.
It does a hit on their credit.
Dude, I when I was selling my truck when it wasn't done.
Yeah.
And like the first fucking paragraph was, this truck does not run. It needs work. It has a lot of parts, but do not expect to drive this truck home. You will need to bring a trailer. I had the lady show up with her husband with money and asked for the keys. And I was like, how you guys getting this home? And they're like, oh, what do you mean? And I said, let's read the first paragraph together. Oh, I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah.
I really don't know how you missed that.
Lending
Like,
institutions right now have said, oh, are you that dumb? We want you as a customer.
Yeah, right.
I promise you, because we are getting tier 5 credit ratings, which I didn't know they went that low, approved on a $2,000 motorcycle. And you know what their down payment is? $2,100.
Oh my God.
No, I got one today. I got
take it.
one today. Slappy's House of Credit approved one of these people for my VT 1100. It's 24 years old. There's no way you should be able to get financed for that on God's green earth. Nobody should finance you on a bike that has a Kelly Blue Book value of $896. I got an approval that said customers approved, tier 5 credit, down payment $2,100, $43 a month
For 10 years.
for 24 months. So on top of the $2,100 down payment, that is $100 more than the price of the bike, they also want them to pay an additional $4,000 or $2,800 in actual payments at 19.99% interest.
So what is the? I mean, wow. So the guy can't do it because if he had the $2,000, he'd just come and hand you $2,000.
That's kind of the point.
Because that's how it works.
Right.
Right. That's how it works. But every once in a while, they run into one of them real special children that goes, well, I guess I can buy it on time. And since the down payment's $2,100, and I'm like, what? I do this every day of my fucking life. People come to my shop and be like, well, it's only $93 a month on the card. And I'm like, you'll never pay it off.
You know what's
You
weird?
can't pay it off. It's unpayoffable.
But you know what's weird?
Right.
So my middle daughter is at OSU, and I took her back. She was on spring break, and I had to take her back last weekend.
Yeah.
And so when we were down there, her roommate just was getting there at the same time, so I took them both to breakfast. And so we went to this little place, and then there was like 3 or 4 other college kids that they knew, and so I was like the dad sitting with about 6 college kids, and they were talking about cars and other things, and nobody talked about price. No. They only talked about how much a month everything was. Like, I never heard that before. Like, these kids were like, oh, man, you know the new blah, blah, blah VWs? Like, yeah, dude, they're only like $290 a month.
Tom said some shit the other day that fucked my head up. Fucked my head up.
I mean, that
happens once a day.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not...
But he said some shit. Tom, it was 72 monthly payments at How'd you say it? Was it $1,000 a month?
$1,000 a month for 72 months.
72 for what?
A $50,000 truck.
Oh my God, it's $22,000 extra.
Yeah, exactly.
When Tom said that, he goes, "Yeah, it's only $1,000 a month. It's a luxury truck, right? It's if it's $1,000, I can afford $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
For that bit top of the line, great kick-ass truck." And Tom was like, "Yeah, it's only $1,000 a month for 72 months." And I was like, they're not even trying to hide it.
Nope.
Right.
Right. Like if you can't do 72 times 1,000,
Yeah.
game on.
Hey-
right. You're our customer
Hey, Sleepy.
Yeah.
for a $50,000 truck.
Sleepy, you want to know why kids today think in terms of monthly ownership instead of bulk payment?
Because a lot of the costs are so high, you don't want to think about
Nope.
it. No.
What is it?
What is the one thing Americans have had for the past 25 years that they have paid monthly payments on that
fucking
even
cell
kids
phone.
have?
Fucking cell phone.
Right here.
Fucking cell phones.
How much does this
Yeah, there's nobody. I mean, I've never paid.
Yeah, right.
Every
You
cell
do
phone,
not-
every cell phone I've ever bought has been a
You've
used,
never bought it outright.
reconditioned, whatever phone.
Yeah, right. Me too.
Because this cell phone, when it
Right.
was brand new, was
Yeah.
$800.
Oh yeah.
So you finance it at $20 a month for the rest of its fucking life, and
Yeah,
then they
but-
prorate it and blah blah blah.
Yeah, but
You
Dave
could-
Ramsey won't let me do that. He
only-
told me to buy a Pixel.
Yep.
So when Dan said buy a Pixel, I said, well, Dan's smart.
Yep.
I'm going to go buy a Pixel because I had been on sucking Apple's teat for way too long.
Yeah.
And Dan told me to buy a Pixel. I went and found a 2 generations old Pixel for $129.
Yep.
Bought that, and I pay $85 a month for 4 phone lines.
Yep. For a period of time,
I can live with that.
But
Yeah.
this is why kids today, because you're talking, he's talking 22-year-olds at best.
Yeah. well,
Yep.
yeah.
They have
Not even
never
20.
lived their life
Yeah.
without a cell phone, and
Right.
they have never lived without a cell phone payment.
The concept is just I have a cell phone. I have a cell phone bill every month. I have a
Yep.
Netflix bill every month. I
Yep.
there's a whole bunch of things in my life that I technically can't own.
Yep.
Right? Because if I own my cell phone for 5 years, it's not going to work anymore. They're going to change the operating system, and I'm going to have a brick. So I should just rent to own, I guess.
For a brief period of time, I would buy Amazon had these special phones, like Motorola had like a
Can you hand me that beer behind you, Dan?
Dan, right
Can you
behind
hand me
you.
that beer behind you, buddy? Thank you.
They had like a Motorola, and this
Yeah.
is the high.
I bought one of those for $32.
Huawei and everybody else, and they were cheap as hell. And as long as you didn't mind having Amazon on your splash screen, it would be fine. So I bought one because it was $200, and it lasted exactly 1 year, and then it died. And everybody on the Reddit said, "No, they die after 1 year. It does not matter how much you spend." And I did the math, and I said, "Fuck it," and I went back to buying a monthly payment. But these kids
Yeah.
have never not known a payment.
There was a joke that said, "Look at these millennials running around like they rent the place."
Yep.
And I guess you're right.
That is
But-
what it is.
Yeah.
Society has conditioned everybody to expect a monthly payment.
All the people that bought during COVID because they had stimmy checks and all that stuff, and there was some extra running around. I've had at least two phone calls a week from people that are saying, "Hey, will you buy this bike back?" And I always go, "Great." Now, before I even get deeper into the conversation, what do you owe on it? Huh? What do you owe on it? Well, what do you mean? Well, how much money do you owe on the bike? I mean, you've had this bike for 11 months, 13 months, 16 months. What do you owe on it? Well, I don't know. You have a note on it, though. You are financing it, correct? You pay a monthly bill? I am, yeah. Yeah, I know because I'm the one that sold it to you. What do you owe on it? Well, what do you give me for it? I need to know what you owe on it first. They don't have any idea.
Nope.
They have no goddamn idea. And then they call me back and they're like, "Oh, well, they said that I owe $5,800, but that can't be right because I paid $6,200 for it." No, that's right where you should be.
Yep.
That's exactly right where you should be. Well, will you give me $5,800 for it? Oh God, no. No, I can buy a brand new one for $4,000 in a crate with a 2-year warranty. Why would I give you $5,200 or $5,800 for it? Well, because that's what I owe. Is this your first trip down to Credit Lane? You're welcome to Upside Down, man.
This is
Did
called-
you buy Gap insurance? You should crash it.
This
right?
is called negative equity.
Yeah, this is the game. Well, right now, I think we're having a lot of people that weren't familiar with it that are becoming very familiar with it based on purchases they made during COVID when the interest rate was 3.99%. But if you miss one payment on that 3.99% contract, your payments are now 24.99% for the rest of the term of the loan, which is a real good way to turn that $7,000 bike into a $29,000 bike.
Yep.
So it's terrifying, the lack of credit intelligence that's out there.
I'm surprised
Spooky.
I'm surprised they haven't brought arm loans into motorcycle shit or something.
I'm surprised they don't have arm loans on everything. I just saw that you can finance your groceries.
Oh no.
Yeah, you can do DoorDash and split DoorDash up over 4 payments. So you could eat the cheeseburger and then be paying the cheeseburger monthly for the next 4 months.
This goes back to that conversation we had
Happily
earlier.
pay you Tuesday for a cheeseburger today.
Hey, Wimpy.
But that's turned into an actual button you can click when you order 2 bags of groceries, right? When you get your food from Giant Eagle, you can actually click that button now and have your $250 grocery bill split over 4 monthly payments. But it's 0% interest unless you're late.
Right.
So if you're late, if you can't make sure that gets paid, that you could literally lose your credit score
But-
over one fucking trip to the grocery store.
But I try not to use credit for most of the stuff, right? But there are some things like some of the guitar stuff I've been doing lately. If you do have decent credit and you think that PayPal and some of these other places will offer you 0% interest for 12 months on some money.
Yes.
So a lot of times, like I have the money in my account that I want to buy this thing with, but I'm like, I'll use your money for free for 12 months. No
Just
problem.
as long as it's not 366 days.
Well, you put it on
'Cause then
auto
the interest
pay.
goes back to the
Well,
right.
no, but if you're
Right.
smart, you put it on auto pay. You don't even have to think about it, and you're using their money for free.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might give me like I have to do this car repair. I know I'm gonna have money in a couple of months, whatever. So, but so there is ways to use money for free.
Yeah.
So I like to take advantage of these companies and just without them,
Just don't pay it off before 3 months.
Yeah, you have
Well,
to
no,
have
a lot of them
pretty
don't-
good credit score to get a 0% offer to begin with.
Well, yeah, no, but at the same time, though, most of them you can pay them off early without a penalty. You do have to watch for that because there is some shitty stuff where you're like, oh, I got this account $800, I'll just pay it off.
740 or better, that's considered excellent.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter. I don't.
So my cousin bought pretty much the same truck that I have. And I said, that's cool, great. He didn't buy it the way I bought it. He financed it in long term. And because he financed it, he has to pay full coverage insurance. And I didn't know this, but my cousin's got not a great credit score. And it turns out if you have not a great credit score, you don't pay the cheap price for insurance. If you have not a great credit score, your insurance is much, much, much more expensive because you're a greater risk. Now, I don't know how not being able to pay your bills equates to you being a worse driver, but apparently there's some correlation there.
Right. I always think it's funny that the people that don't have enough money for
Right.
shit, because that's why they have a bad
Right.
Not generally.
I get yes, right. The people who can afford it the least,
Yeah,
are
get
being punished
the biggest
most.
fees. Yeah, right,
exactly.
like that.
And when he told me what he's paying for his insurance, it's at the same level as, and he has no DUIs. He has a very clean driving record, but it's terrible that my insurance on my truck is about $36 a month for full coverage, everything on my truck, and his is about $250 a month because he has a loan on the vehicle and because he has a not so great credit score.
Well, that's what kids, I'm sure you've dealt with this with your stores.
Yeah.
When you get younger kids coming in to buy a motorcycle, sometimes they don't check on the insurance.
Oh no, we had a
first.
kid had to back out of a purchase the other day.
Yeah.
He showed me what the insurance company wanted for the insurance on his 5-year-old motorcycle that he was buying from me.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that.
Dude, when I used to work at North Shore Yamaha, when we were
$400 a month on a fucking $5,000 motorcycle?
That's nothing, dude. I remember the kids coming in to buy R1s, like 2002, 2003, around
Yeah.
that thing.
Yep.
And so you'd have a 20-year-old kid come in for an R1, and he could ride. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't
whatever.
matter.
Yeah,
Right.
And so he comes in, and they do the thing, and he's going to put $4,000 down, and it's going to be $380 a month. And he's like, fuck yeah. And then he calls. Now, mind you, he had a 600cc sport bike where he got 4 tickets when he was 17.
Yeah.
Now the kid's 20 trying to buy this thing. They come back. So his bike payment was $400 a month. The insurance was going to be $2,100 a month for him to
my
fucking ride the bike.
Jesus
So like you just have to walk away at that point. Like it's crazy.
I promise you, it is so, as bad as we think it is, don't ever move to Europe
Oh, I can't imagine.
because when I was a 18-year-old person, I tried to get motorcycle insurance from Necura Insurance in Germany. They were located right by the barracks, like a fucking Venus flytrap to catch young men who buy cars, right? And I went in there to try to get insurance for my motorcycle, which was, a piece of shit old BMW motorcycle worth at its best day $700. Right.
And it wasn't exactly known for its top end speed.
None of the above. An R69, not a high performance motorcycle, and truly just an 18-year-old shitbox at this point, right? But you know what? My insurance would have been over $1,200 a month.
Oh.
In 1987.
So what'd you do?
I got insurance at home.
Oh.
So I used my American driver's license. I got the AAA International Driver's Permit, so I didn't have to get my German license. Didn't have to worry about a USER license. Got a AAA driver's permit. And I got insurance at home through my family, through my mom. And Mom got insured with me as an authorized user on a 1969 BMW. Yep. And I was the only cat driving around in Europe on Ohio license plates. Yep.
Nice.
Made sure that shit did not expire.
Yeah, right.
Yep. I got pulled over several times for crashing the bike on wet cobblestones.
Oh.
Because that happens.
Yeah.
And they were like, American license plate. And I was like, American person. How long you been here? I have about this long, but well, you can't have that bike with an American license plate on it for more than 6 months here. I was like, well, I don't think it's been 6 months yet.
Yeah.
But you don't know.
Well, and also, like, you could
Right.
say I was deployed back home for a week, and
took-
then
yeah.
they sent me back. Like, I don't know.
Look, I know a lot of people that have a lot of motorcycles scattered in a lot of places they don't live,
Yeah.
and they go visit those motorcycles occasionally.
Right.
So that's how the world works, man.
That's true.
The burden of proof is on the officer who wants to write me a ticket, and there is no part of him that wants to write that ticket. When he found out I was sober, he was like, "This conversation's fucking over." Yeah, because if you're sober and you crash this motorcycle, that's just wet cobblestone. You suck at driving.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of tickets he's going to be able to write for that.
He wrote me one, but he knew he couldn't write me for a DUI or anything
You
fun.
can't run your plate and find out.
Oh, he couldn't run my plate. Oh, no. He wanted no part of that. No part of that at all. Chris, you got a box. You got a package.
I do.
What's in your package, Chris?
Well,
What's in the box?
Looks like a very stout package.
Show us your package, Chris.
pass these out. Take one and pass it along.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dear.
I know it's not a puppy. Just give me one and go
It's a
behind.
maintenance journal.
I like the wrapping paper.
Yeah.
That is fucking
Courtesy of Mrs. Smith.
ultra
So,
modern.
Merry Christmas. Happy Easter to everybody. How's
Happy
that?
Easter.
Happy Easter.
That's your Easter gift.
Happy Easter,
Eggs.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Thank you, Easter Bunny. Everybody. Oh, the Rambler's Companion. This is a good bathroom book, I think. This has the look of a good bathroom book.
Oh, yeah.
So it's written by Richard Worsham.
Oh, Richard from Janusz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Richard
Practice and
Janusz.
enjoyment of lightweight
not-
motorcycling.
There's no pictures, man.
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay. I see.
There's fucking illustrations, man.
Is there scratch and sniff?
I'd much rather have that.
So speaking of the Janus guys, didn't you have some information about Janus?
Yeah, they announced today that they are sending a bike to the Sturgis flat track races
track.
in 2024,
Get out of here.
and they got a pilot and an engine builder,
That's great.
and they're gonna send a stock bike there, and so from August 2nd to 10th, they're gonna be
So there'd be somebody out on that track in that class other than Royal Enfield.
yeah,
Because it's a class that was basically put together for Royal Enfield.
yeah, the single.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
anyhow, so yeah, good on them. I mean, they're doing a crowdfunding or crowdsourcing fund, whatever you call that thing,
Yeah, crowdsourcing. Yep.
to afford to send the thing out there. And but anyhow, it's pretty cool. And for a little small company like that to roll the dice on something like this,
Fuck
I think
yeah.
it's interesting. And
So they're going to use a Griffin, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Yeah.
that's the right bike for that job.
yeah.
I love that. I think that's a great thing.
Dude, if the dude doesn't like dress up in period correct racing attire,
Well,
The garb.
so they actually have a picture of the racing attire that they're looking to
I fucking love this.
Yeah, I wanna-
There's the pilot.
Blake Wharton.
Man,
All
we
right.
going to Sturgis to watch?
You guys don't know Blake Wharton. Blake Wharton is a supercross racer.
Oh, and then they got the mechanic he's got a hat.
Jordan Lake.
yeah,
look at
he's
that
got
guy.
he's got a very good mustache beard hat combo.
He's got the carb cleaning fucking mustache.
He does have the carb cleaning mustache that you talked about earlier. Well, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not. I mean, they're gonna win. They're gonna.
no clogged jets on his watch.
You know, here's the thing. They may not win, but they'll do it handsomely.
Yeah.
They will do it handsomely. That's fucking great, man. Good for them. That's badass. That's going to be Buffalo Chip, I believe, right?
I'm actually
kind
interested.
of the way they do it,
I'm
yeah.
interested to hear how they do, man. I hope they do well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We can't watch it. We can't watch the thing. It's on YouTube, but you
That's
can.
the
You can find it.
450, right? Not,
Yeah, 450.
So it's the new one. Okay.
Yep. The Griffin 450. So yeah, I saw it all done. I saw it all duded up as a scrambler with a high pipe and everything, and it looked sexy.
So
It looked good.
is this mechanic guy gonna breathe on it a little bit, or is he just gonna?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's the racing gear
Mike,
too down there at the bottom.
Mike.
The racing gear is down there at the bottom.
Oh.
I'll pull that up so you guys can see it because it looks exactly what you want it to look like. It looks like that.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Perfect.
Well,
Oh,
done.
it is kind of period. That's nice.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
And guys, hey, by the way, for $500, Cleveland Moto can be text branding on tents, shirts, and promotional materials and inclusion in all media/promotion. Because that's what we need is some good representation.
Well, give me your checkbook, Phil. I'll write him a check.
Yeah, right. Well, this is what
I don't know. It might be worth $500.
This is what
I'd pony up.
this is what Patreon's for.
This is the idea. Our patrons are going to be very upset for us for mismanaging their money and inappropriately spending their
They
retirement.
got
funds.
100. They got
They're going to be
100.
like, these guys are like Norton.
Dude, if for $100 we could get a sticker on the bike or something, like that would be worth it.
All right. I'm gonna say this. This is a pretty sexy bike.
It's a pretty sexy bike, I got to say.
Like coming from me, that's a sexy
It's
bike.
a pretty sexy bike. So, look, I'm very happy that they're doing it, first of all, because that's just great. And because Janus is an American company built by enthusiasts and people that are super duper into it.
Oh, wait, hit
it's
the little-
fucking great.
Oh, you can't replay it.
I'll hit it. Don't threaten me for the good time. I'll hit it.
Oh, they're just sitting there. Is there any bikes to show, or what's going on?
I'm sure eventually they'll get to the bikes. It's a 26-minute video.
Oh,
yeah, no, you're
Right.
not gonna want to do that.
Right. Yeah, it's three guys talking to each
I
other.
don't have that kind of time.
This is like watching the Cleveland Moto podcast on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I said. But anyway, so that's a thing and that exists. So yeah, I'm definitely cool with that. Good for them.
Yeah,
that's
that's
cool.
neat.
It's great. The first time Sleepy went out on was it Mama Tried or was it?
Yeah, it was Mama Tried.
It was Mama
That
Tried.
was fucking fun, man.
I hadn't known you that long at that point as far as like your motorcycle career was going.
Right.
But I was instantly impressed by the balls that you were going to go out and race on Coke syrup,
Yeah,
Dr. Pepper syrup on concrete.
yeah.
And I was like, that's balls. That's
fun.
some balls right there. And
You know what nobody tells you though?
what?
Don't put your foot down.
No. 15 laps on Coke syrup
Yeah.
is equivalent to
1,000 laps.
you might as well have run a fucking marathon.
Yeah.
Like holding your leg up that whole time because like you are sliding it and stuff. It was like I thought I was gonna pass out from fucking heat exhaustion, dude. And I was battling that one dude. That was a fun. I wish they'd bring that back, man. That was really fun.
It's they did it at Portland at the one show. That's the kind of thing it does move around, and that is good homespun fun.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten to be insane though because like you're not even in the running if you don't have a jet ski motorcycle
right.
towing an outhouse.
Right.
Because now it's turned into the trailer class.
Right.
So you have to have an inappropriate motorcycle with a trailer behind it. So there's got like a guys on an outhouse. Right, it's just bonkers.
And the weird part is, though, is then like some of those classes, they're running the actual 1200cc fucking flat track bikes against a fucking Boaterome.
Yes, yeah, for real. Yeah. Oh no, it is well past the idea of a bad idea.
Right.
But just very. I'll die on this hill. This kind of shit is a great idea.
Yeah.
The more of
That's such a
fun, have an idea, make it, follow it all the way through till fruition.
So what generation is this Griffin bike supposed to be? Because it's not a flat track or board bike anymore. It's more of a
It's a weird Earl's Fork Scrambler, right?
Yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a very mid '60s Triumph.
Yeah, it's a desert sleddy kind of thing. Yeah, it's a desert sled. Earl's Forks were very Triumph desert sled. Yeah. Yep.
What was
That's
it? You know what? Remember the Greaves? Remember English motorcycle?
Greaves,
Oh,
absolutely.
It kind of reminds me of that.
Does remind me of
Yeah,
Greaves.
that's
Yep.
that's
That's
you're
a
right.
very, very
It's
good.
very, very late '50s, to early mid '60s ish. But
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
totally
I gotta
a
mean,
Honda
that's
looking scrambler.
It's kind of a good looking bike, man.
yeah.
You know what really adds up there is that seat and tank, the way it flows into each other. I mean,
It does.
That's been lost on today's modern bikes.
That's what I'm saying,
You
dude.
know,
It
I
has
mean,
that flat line. That's what I was saying before. Yeah,
I mean,
you're
it's
100%
right that they're putting this next to Royal Enfield though, because that's a lot of the same look of the Norton.
Yeah,
Or
and
the
you got
Enfield.
that. It is a straight fucking line from the bottom of the triple tree, from the bottom of the neck, all the way to the tail of the bike. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that same.
That's the way it's
It's that
supposed to
look.
be.
It's the way it's supposed to be. I totally agree. Yep. Classic
Got
lines.
that like 1970s
Look
handlebar,
at
with the
that. Is that a-
crossbar.
So
Is that a 4-valve single?
I think it is, Tom. I actually think it is. I think it is. I mean, 330 pounds. If that's nice. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Not sure. Well, no, this makes sense.
Okay, here we go. Single cylinder. Yep, single cylinder. It's got that Honda style RV.
That's that Honda 4-valve head.
it is the
4-valve motor.
Honda style 4-valve RV. What is that, John? RVPC, RV.
Radial 4 valves per cylinder.
Yeah, radio RFPC, right? Yeah, RFPC. That system. That's the same thing they have in the Shine Race. So I think I know where this motor came from, right? Yeah,
So this goes back to the G400C.
I think this does go right back to the G400C.
But this is
Yep. Yeah, pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty fucking cool. I gotta
Tom
say.
wants a bike now.
Well,
Tom's gonna join the Janus.
Janusz.
Well, this little birdie told me something about that, but I don't think we can talk about that yet.
Yeah, we've got our second, counting Chris's, our third Janusz in the shop for service. Yep. And Tom, we've been slowly introducing Janusz into the world of Tom. And so, to get him accustomed to it so he wouldn't just reject it out of principle.
Got to ease the clutch out.
Could I think some of us could see that happening.
Sure.
Right. But so Tom has been sort of dipping his toe in. And so we've got to start with Chris's Janus. And then we've got to have a customer's sidecar Janus come in.
Yeah.
And the third one that came in, I rode this one around the other day when he brought it in. I fired it up, kind of took it around. I was a little reluctant to ride the sidecar around because it's just such a one-of-a-kind piece. Like, it's so special. And I really didn't want to have any risk of scratching it or, fucking it up in any way because it is... The guy who owns it loves it like it's one of his children. And I really didn't want to harm it in any way. So we did a very light hands and, made sure everything's fine, went out, fired it up, everything was cool. And then I was just like, great, I'm not... Despite my desire to go out and ride a Janus with a sidecar like it owed me money.
I was gonna say I've never seen you get in a sidecar and not have it like 45, 50
So this is
degrees, and
Okay, to thine own self be true.
Yeah.
I knew for fucking fact we put Chris Smith in a buddy sidecar rig that he was 2 times the rated capacity of. And when Chris's lower part of his body got into it, it made terrible noises. Just getting into it made terrible noises.
Chris's
and then
body did?
No, the plastic that was made out of
and I have-
the
my
body made
fiberglass
some
it was
bad
made
noises,
in.
I have
We
video-
couldn't get him out though.
I have
Right.
video from being in a sidecar
Yeah.
with you trying to kill me in the sidecar.
So my problem is this particular bike. I knew that if I would have been like, okay, I'm going to take it out for a ride. No, there was salt on the roads, and there was
it
just
was
too many
not-
extenuating
it was not a good
circumstances. And I really would like to make this Janus thing work out.
Yeah.
So I want to keep the customer very happy, and I want us to be happy with it. So I just was like, yeah, if I take this out and do something stupid like, hey, Chris, get in the sidecar rig. We're going to go buy beer and sandwiches.
I like to say that you're testing the side or the sidecar's tires bead.
Yeah.
Because like when you lay into
Always.
those things, it's like.
Oh no, the orange sidecar at the shop right now.
Yeah.
That tire had exactly 300 feet of me left in it, and now it's flat.
Yeah.
So that tire is probably 10 years old, or no, it's 12 years old on the back of it. I took it out. I flew the car in front of the guys that live next door at the CMHA high rise. They were all sitting outside. I just threw the car up in the air and ran by them, and they lost their goddamn minds. but I got it, pulled it back into the shop, and I could hear this. And the back of the bike got shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter.
Well, that's because you fly it in the one direction, but the other direction you're
sliding
drifting it.
Yeah, we drifted
you're
the other way.
Literally drifting.
No, this tire is proper fucked.
Yeah.
There is no getting away from that. It's done.
Yeah.
So who brought the third Janus in?
Same fella who owned the sidecar rig.
same guy,
This
that's
is
right.
another Janus.
Where's that guy from?
Janus he got.
Is he on the east side
He's
somewhere?
east side, yeah. East side customer.
Chris
That's
is
that break-
upset his Janus alert didn't go off.
That's the bright green one that you came back and looked at?
Yeah, we showed you that one
Yeah.
shot.
I just want to. Same guy. I don't.
Same guy, and he's not like, hey guys, let's all go out and ride.
Well, he's not on the map either
No.
because Janus has a
owner map.
Yeah, and he's not on the map, so that's why. I was
Not surprising. Yeah, not surprising. But anyway, I just thought it was fun. And
what else isn't on the map? There's a lot of Harley Livewire dealers. No. Just circling back.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't think any of our podcast listeners are at risk of accidentally buying a live wire. But if you're thinking you might, if you're bike curious about live wires, call me because I have not one, not two, but 6 zero electric motorcycles that I will sell you at an irresponsibly low price. At a price where you may consider just buying it and crashing it, letting the insurance company write you a check because you make out. You'd be ahead of the game. It's that low. That's how I'm willing to sell these zero electric motorcycles. Yep.
How low can you go, Uncle Phil?
Super fucking low.
As not your lawyer, I advise you not to do this.
Right, exactly. Right. The right now the biggest thing that I want in my relationship with these motorcycles is distance. A lot of distance. Got another phone call today. Guy called me up. He goes, "Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, but you know, when I parked my bike last year, when I put baby to bed, you know, it said 65%, so I put it to bed with 65%, and then I checked on it in January, and it was down to 30%. I was like, yeah, you should have plugged that in." And he went, "But I didn't." And I said, I'm going to guess it's not. I'm going to guess it's at 0% right now. And he goes, "Yeah, it won't. There's nothing now." Yeah, and there's nothing. And I said, "Did you plug it in and leave it plugged in for a couple, 3 days?" "Oh, it's been plugged in for like a week and a half." "Nothing's happening, is it?" "No." "Yeah, that's a bad problem. That's not good." Yeah. When an electric device will not accept electricity into its system anymore, it's become electricity intolerant is the term that I like to use. And when electric vehicles are electricity intolerant, that's a bad sign.
Good.
Right. So can you imagine if your electric vehicle was electricity intolerant?
Yeah, no.
How much does he still owe on it? Like $5,800, and you're going to buy it back for $50.
I was so wanting to get out of that conversation before he started talking about things like warranty claims and lemon laws and stuff like that. I was just like, yeah, we need to. There's a dealer in Columbus who would love to have this call.
Yeah.
Right. But I can't do anything for you. And yeah, Americans are just sometimes Americans aren't a good match for a vehicle that needs to be plugged in, charged up once every 30 days.
Yeah.
Because I can promise you, even having them in the shop and having to go up and turn them on and run them and charge them like every 30 days, it sometimes can slip my mind. Yep.
Yeah, but if you only have one at home, for Christ's sake. I mean,
I know, you could put it on a fucking one of those little timers. Remember those timers we had when we were kids?
So you
just
can't
punch it in there?
You
And,
can't just
Jesus
leave the
Christ.
fucking thing plugged in all winter.
so you used to be able to before
That would make
firmware
sense.
updates. I'm sorry.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like especially if like it's gonna update itself so that as it's waiting to update, it's not pulling energy. Like just leave the fucking thing plugged in.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Right. But there is this thing where we live in a society that for the past 30 years, you were trained when you had a cordless drill that had a nickel metal hydride battery in it, You were trained not to leave that battery plugged in 24/7.
But Phil, I'm like you. I buy a $200 or $100 phone.
Right.
This phone that was $100 a year ago that works flawlessly, it has a thing where like you can plug it in.
Yeah.
And then when it gets to the full charge, it just regulates it and trickles it all by itself.
And can you imagine that the $27,000 motorcycle might have the same feature?
I would think it should.
It does. It does.
But they don't.
But there are people out in this world that still believe your front brakes are dangerous and you should never use them.
Yeah, there you go.
And as long as we have that happening, we're never going to accelerate as a society, right? As long as people are absolutely certain that front brakes are dangerous and they're going to kill you, we have a brake rotor hanging on the wall at my shop. It is a brake rotor off of a bike that did 2,800 miles. The brake rotor is scored like Godzilla was clawing at it the whole way around. The brake pads are completely through the pad material and into the backing plates. The backing plates are what destroyed that brake rotor. 2,800 miles.
Gotta keep your brakes covered.
Why did you not ever touch your front brakes?
Right.
Well, because you use your front brake, you go over the handlebars. I can't win. I cannot win.
You know what's weird? It's weird for me, like when I had the Husqvarna and we'd be doing like gravel rides down in middle Ohio or southern Ohio, and you're on a 45 downhill gravel slope. It was really hard to not grab the front brake.
Yeah, because you're like, the front brake is where the magical braking power is.
Right.
If I have to drag this bitch down with only the rear brake, shit's going to get slippy and weird real fast.
Right, but at the same time, when you're going pretty fast on gravel, it's
You don't
pretty
wanna-
scary to grab that front brake on that. So I guess, I mean, if people just act like that all the time, maybe
Right.
I can understand where they come from, but not really. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
believe me, when I have a human being who's a 61-year-old tax-paying, federal job having dude come in and on a brand new bike with 2,800 miles burn through a rotor and a set of pads, and I have to put all those items on and charge him for it, and he's super upset it's not covered under warranty, and I'm like, in what motorcycle training manual ever has it said that your front brakes are dangerous and you shouldn't use them?
Right. There was a thing I sent you guys this a couple of weeks ago, but it's the dude on the silver like fat boy, and he's coming in the traffic. The person has a dash cam in their car, and they slam on their brakes because somebody in front of them slams on their brakes. And they don't hit anybody. The dude on the Harley is like 150 yards behind the car.
Yep.
And he starts skidding at like 100 yards and goes and slams into the back of the car.
Right.
Never, like you're saying, not even an ounce of front brake. You could tell the back, it's just skidding on the back tire right into the car.
Do you know how many times at my shop I have given away the book Cornering Confidence by John Del Vecchio?
Yeah, we've talked about it a million
It's a
times.
very, very easy to read book. It's very thin. It's got good pictures. It's good for stupid people. And I hand that book to people, and I'm like, so here's the rule. Because of the things you've said in my presence, I cannot let you leave here without this book.
Right.
Now, I hope that when you consider buying a bike from me, you're going to come back and you're going to bring this book back to me, and it'll be a little dog-eared, it'll be a little red, but I hope you'll return it when you come back to buy a bike.
And then I can give it to the next person.
Right, and I'll give it to the next person.
Right.
I've given this book out to many people. And I'm like, please don't be insulted. But they say the word trail braking, and they make the motion of using their rear foot. And I'm like, nope. Somebody gave you some bad soup a long time ago, right? And they just don't get it. And learning how to ride a motorcycle that way has changed the way I ride motorcycles. And for my whole life, I will always ride bikes differently now. Now, I benefited from that because am riding them in a safer fashion, and I'm riding them in a more enthusiastic and fun fashion, right? And the magic, though, is my front tire and my back tire both wear out at the exact same time.
Right.
Which, because I'm inherently a cheap fucker, right? That makes me very happy. It makes me very happy when the front tire and the back tire wear out at the
You know
same
what's
time.
weird though? People like they'll understand that most of the brake, like when you look at a car, it doesn't have bigger brakes on the rear.
Sleepy, if I put two pedals in every car in America, a pedal for the front brakes and a pedal for the rear brakes, I can tell you which pedal they'd be pressing.
You're right.
The problem is motorcycles give you too much control.
Yeah.
And even in some of the motorcycles that we sell that have linked braking systems, combined braking systems, it is hilarious to me how I will still see an abundance of wear on the rear brake rotors, even though I know that the machine is trying to correct their stupidity.
Yeah.
So that when they're smashing their foot on the rear brake, it's scavenging energy and putting it to the front brakes just to make the vehicle stop more safely.
Right.
But it's still, it is astonishing the lack of education these riders have.
What do you think if you're going to put a ratio, like if you'd mash the front and use a little bit of if you just use the front brake, use both brakes or just the rear, what do you think that I think just using the front to front and rear would be about like 1 to 1.5 more braking. But like using just the rear, I think would probably be almost like 10 times less than just the front.
Yeah, so the Motorcycle Safety Foundation says that 70% of your braking energy comes from the front end of the vehicle. You're supposed to apply 70% front brake, 30% rear brake. In our test that we did, when we did this, I was able to stop a motorcycle from 60 miles an hour using only my front brake in 105 feet.
Okay.
Using only my front brake.
Right.
Using only the rear brake was 430 feet.
Right. Like yeah. Right.
Okay, using only the rear brake, and that's pending lockup. So it would start to lock and I'd back out. Start to lock and I'd back out. Threshold braking, right? Using the front and the rear together didn't change anything because I was using the front brake so fucking hard that my back wheel was slightly in the air.
I'm sure.
Barely touching the ground. So the application of the rear brake, moderate effectiveness depending on where the rear wheel is in the game.
Sure.
But when I tried using just the front brake, I achieved 105 feet. When I tried using the front brake and the rear brake together, it was like 105 feet. Same, because we're doing threshold braking.
Sure.
We want the back wheel to be kind of almost in the air. So, okay, that's fine. But what I can goddamn well promise you is that using the rear brake, like you said with the Harley Davidson, is an extra fucking 300 some feet.
Yeah.
Here's a question
That's
for
dangerous.
you, Cinch.
Yeah.
What's worse than running with scissors?
I don't know.
Scissoring with the runs.
And I think, my friends, that is a ClevelandMoto podcast. I think we should all remember to ride fast and take chances. Play us out here, Johnny Mac.
Bum 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 bum.